go. Welcome to episode 626, the breakdown sponsored by Gemini. And speaking of Gemini, you see the commercial here. Go to Gemini.com/David G. That's right, /David G to look at the lineup of Gemini credit cards, which are issued by WebBank. That's right, the Gemini Bitcoin credit card, the Gemini XRP credit card, and the Solana credit card. Gemini got them all. 4% up to 4% back in XRP, Bitcoin, or Solana. Go check it out. Gemini.com/David G. Also, click the link. You see the links on the streams. Click the link, sign up $1,000 in crypto, get $100 in Bitcoin. Terms apply, new signees only. What's going on? It's my birthday. It is my birthday. It's my birthday. That's right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the breakdown, episode 626, sponsored by Gemini, partner with Gemini. Shout out to Gemini. The twins out there dropping bars. They're dropping bars out there. Yeah, boy. Yeah, dropping bars. We got a good lineup here today. We got Hunter from Bitwise coming on at 1:15 p.m. That's right. And then at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have Peter Schiff coming on. That's right, Peter Schiff. He's coming on. Everybody's favorite. Hopefully my connections and all my equipment are able to go ahead and play nice with me here. Second day in the row. The markets. Let me check out the market. I haven't even looked at the markets. I've been too busy celebrating myself. That's right. I've been way too busy celebrating myself. Oh man. Can that get any more cockier? All right, so here, let's go ahead and let's look here. Let's look. Bitcoin's at 87,683. That's fine. No worries. Ethereum's at 2941. You have XRP's at 219. BNB is at 858. We got Solana at 136. You know, I'm starting to buy up more Solana. That's right. I'm starting to buy more Solana up. Yes, indeed. 100%. I am buying more Solana now. I feel like Solana's gonna rip. I really do, man. I really do. I believe that. I wholeheartedly believe. And people are in shock, but I've never hated on Solana. I don't like the gambling or the casino that has taken place, as you've seen, on Solana. So that's really been, my gripe. Okay, I don't like these zombie tickers and stuff. You guys start hammering me like, oh my God, he hates Solana. No. I buy Solana. I'm buying Solana. Did I crack a few jokes about Solana when when it went down and stuff? Yeah, but I cracked jokes on Ethereum. I cracked jokes on Bitcoin. I critique everything that I'm in, man. And it's not because I hate something. It's just critique. That's my personality. I'm a New Yorker, man. I'm a New Yorker. What do you expect? Anybody from New York understands. That's it. Anybody from New York understands my personality. I just critique. Or I give my feedback. By the way, the total market cap for crypto is at 302, and that's $3.02 trillion. Man, a lot of you guys are really, really going to lose on this. We're in a bear market. We're going into a bear market. We'll have to wait another 4 years. I really believe a lot of us, not let me exclude myself, a lot of you guys are going to definitely get left on the sidelines. I believe that. I believe that. Yeah, like you got to follow the money. You got to follow the money. What are we doing? You're following crackheads on the internet. They have no value. Absolute no value. Again, today's a great day, okay? It's my birthday. Today is a great, let's keep, I should put on 50 Cent, man. Like, it's my birthday. Didn't 2 Chainz do that also? I'm looking forward to asking Hunter a few questions. Obviously, Hunter, CEO of Bitwise. I'm actually I can't wait to go ahead and ask him a few questions about the industry and what he's seeing out there. Not what you guys are seeing out there, what he's seeing out there. Um, I'm excited. I keep saying this, and I'm cutting clips and promos about this, but it's how I feel. Like Bitcoin has no. To me, Bitcoin doesn't have a bull or bear market. Like I don't even know what that means. Like I don't even know what that means. I'm still trying to figure out what how can you apply bull and bear market to Bitcoin? Think about what I just said. Think about what I just said. How do you apply that to one of the greatest assets of all time? How do you apply this bear or bull when things with Bitcoin, like it's supposed to change things? Not supposed, it is going to change things. You guys are here today because of Bitcoin. Whether you hold it or not, you're here because of Bitcoin. You are. So like that was the goal. So when people talk about, okay, you want to talk from a gain standpoint, good. I'm beyond that. I'm beyond the whole gain situation. You're still on the gains. I'm beyond that. I see Bitcoin for what it is. I see Bitcoin for what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, episode 626. I'm happy it's my birthday. I'm happy it's my birthday. Yo, for real. I'm happy. I'm smiling. Okay, you don't get a lot of this. You don't get the smirk that comes out a lot. Okay. Trump, he's talking about how can you be bearish? Trump is talking about $20 trillion being injected into the markets. Then you have, or the economy, I should say. Then you have Luckwit, Nick or whatever. He goes on and he says, definitely next year, people are getting $2,000 checks, tariff checks. Like, what else do you want? What else do you want them to say? Like, what else do you want this administration to say? The feds are talking about, rate cuts. There's an 85% chance that that's going to happen. What else do you want? Like, what else do you want? Like, you couldn't ask for a better. Do you guys want Biden back? Is this what you really want? Do you guys want Kamala? Do you guys regret voting for Trump? Do you want like Kamala? Do you wish that Kamala and Dancing Tim Walz was running this ship? I'm wondering. I'm really wondering if that's what you guys really want. Dancing Tim Walz. Dancing Tim Walz. You had a bunch of people tell you that they're going to take away your fucking freedom of speech. Wonderful. These are the people that you want back in office. I never thought I'd see that, man. Never thought I'd see that. Honestly. Wild. Got one of the greatest presidents of all time sitting in the White House right now. You really do. You have hey, that's my opinion though, right? You don't got to share it, but you got one of the greatest presidents of all time sitting at the White House in the Oval Office. Okay? Bringing peace. Okay? Report stating that Ukraine is agreeing to a peace deal. All right? We don't have to go ahead and shell out any more money towards a war we don't participate in, but some will say otherwise. But I'm just saying we don't have to participate in Ukraine and Russia's war right now. if they do come to a peace treaty, oh my Lord. The president of peace, ladies and gentlemen. And they're just gonna hate and hate and hate, man. In less than a year, he's done more for this country than any other president that I can remember. That's it. Yeah, I keep it real, 100%. I keep it 100 with you guys, 100%. He's done a great job, man. Under the circumstances, he's done a great job. And you just have to acknowledge it. Whether you're a Democrat or Republican, libertarian, and most of you guys should be libertarians, by the way, since you're in crypto, right? Purple party, green party, it doesn't matter. You have to acknowledge that there is a man that was almost well, there were two assassination attempts on him. Dude kept on running. Nonstop. He's older than everybody in this goddamn chat. That didn't matter because he was acting like he was 40 with the way he was traveling day in and day out on the campaign trail, man. This man loves think about it. This man loves the United States of America. Donald Trump loves America because who in their right mind, a billionaire with real estate all over the place, a name that can easily get like millions of dollars just for showing up. Why in the world does he need to go ahead and run? And some people will say, well, he has a tremendous ego. Well, okay, cool, fine. But nobody trust me, ego or not, ain't nobody like getting shot at. Who needs this bullshit when they start attacking you from all corners, man? Shout out to you know what? New Yorkers understand Donald Trump. Like if you're not from New York or the tri-state area, you won't understand Donald Trump. You don't understand what he's saying. The trolling, you don't understand. The sarcasm, it goes over your head. It's just like you got to be from New York to understand this man. Do I agree with everything? No. But for the most part, I'd rather have him with a pulse, traveling, partnerships, bringing back capitalism, getting away from socialism. My parents ran away from communism and socialism. So like capitalism is great. It's great. Capitalism is great. It gives everybody an opportunity here. Every single individual in the United States of America has an opportunity to win. Okay? An absolute 100% opportunity to win. I don't want to hear it. And socialism doesn't work. Communism is a pipe dream. Like none of these things work. Look at the countries that currently have the system implemented. They're not doing very well. Trust me, okay? Trust me when I tell you, Eastern Europe with socialism or communism, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's a pipe dream. It really is. Anyway, it is 1:15. We'll be right back after this commercial break from Gemini. Shout out to Gemini. They're all over the place. The twins are laying bars down, okay? The twins are out there laying bars down at conferences right now. Gemini got come on. You got to, let's, Gemini has one of the best marketing teams on the planet. I don't really care, okay? Nobody's going to tell me otherwise. I was reading some of the transcripts. I was actually laughing because I was like, the twins are dropping knowledge, man. They're out there dropping, as we say, bars. Like they are, like they're really traveling around. I've never seen the twins travel around this much. They're really out there advocating for Bitcoin, talking about Bitcoin. So it's really cool to see. We'll be right back after this silent, non-voiceover. Shout out to Gemini for sending me this ad, which I have to do the voiceover on my own. We'll be right back, and we'll be back with Hunter, obviously, from Bitwise right after this. If I can click on the goddamn thing. Thank you. And yes, this is the Gemini ad, which they gave me no voiceover to. So I am providing the voiceover. Go to Gemini.com/David G. Check out the lineup of credit cards issued by WebBank. The Bitcoin credit card, you get 4% back, not in points, but in Bitcoin. Check out the XRP card. You get 4% back in XRP, up to 4% back in XRP. And also the Solana credit card, also 4% back in Solana. Go to Gemini.com/David G and check out that page. And I don't know. But what else am I? Yo, Jay, anybody from Gemini, can you help me with a voiceover? Can you really help me with a Anyway, go to gemini.com/David J. You know how I erupt. Anyway, we're back. Welcome back. Well, let's bring our guest right in. This I've watched him. I had to watch him. I have to study. Game tape. Hunter, what's going on? How's everything going?
You crushed that ad read. Oh my gosh. That was like listening to jazz.
Terrible. It was better yesterday, man.
Beautiful.
It was so much better yesterday.
Oh my God. I'm going to rush out and get a Gemini card now.
I hope you do. Somebody clip this. Somebody clip that and save my job. Hunter, thank you so much for taking the time for coming on to come onto the show. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. You're
I know you're busy.
Yeah, my pleasure. Absolutely.
I've seen you go on multiple podcasts recently. I've studied you.
All right,
to make sure that I ask the proper questions. This is a conversation. It's not an interview. I try to make it light. I do have number one. Maybe you'll help me out here. What do I do with Peter when he comes out at 2 p.m.? What would you do sitting in my place? What would you really do?
I would ask him, what's something about crypto that you've changed your mind on in the last few years?
I'm going to... A question from Hunter will be exactly that. I am going to write that down, and I will ask him that. I'm definitely going to... I'm not going to try to battle with this man. I'm just going to try to have a conversation and understand, because every single thing that I see is battling and trying to force something upon him. Like I just want to understand his psyche on it. So
yeah,
but enough about him. I brought you on.
I think another question that'd be interesting to ask him is, what do you think the market cap of gold will be in 5 years? Gold's had an incredible year. It appeals to similar investment thesis around dollar debasement and currency debasement. And so many of the questions that people ask crypto investors or Bitcoin investors, asking that question to him could also be quite interesting.
I just think for, the younger generation, they're looking at Bitcoin, they're not looking at gold. It's just, that to me personally, that's how I look at it. Anybody that I speak to is just they're not talking about gold. I'm not saying don't get gold, but they're not talking about gold. They're talking about, digital assets. That's exactly, the conversation goes there. Any conference that I go to, and not even a conference, any sit down that I have with any, in real life, friends, they're talking about digital assets.
Yeah, this is such a natural phenomenon. People experience this with all sorts of technology. I can imagine that younger people were earlier to the iPhone, younger people were earlier to Facebook, younger people were earlier to Snapchat. There's probably some things that young people are now doing that you and I aren't doing. So it's a tale as old as time. My grandmother skipped to the PC. She just never got a PC. So it didn't mean that PCs weren't an important trend in technology. So there's quantification of the dynamic now as well. Schwab did a survey not too long ago of investors, and Schwab is of course not a crypto company. And they found that investors ages 30 to 55, they asked investors, what asset classes are you most interested in investing in over the next, I think, 2 years? And they offered U.S. equities, fixed income, real assets, international equities, cryptocurrency. And for investors 30 to 55, crypto was either the number one or number two most interesting asset class out of all of those. And for investors over 55 or 60, it was the second to least most interesting asset class. So I think that there's certainly a generational preference around the asset class here, and I think it's very consistent with what you've described. Actually, I'll just say one other thing on this topic that I think is sometimes underestimated in the space. People think about the wealth transfer to younger generations inheritance, etc. But a different element that I think people don't contemplate as much, which is a structural tailwind for this space. In business, you want to be on the right side of the future. You want the progression of time to be an advantage, not a disadvantage, right? You want to position yourself in that way in business. Well, a structural tailwind for the space, there's wealth transfer and inheritance, yes. The other thing, though, I had when Figma went public, they disclosed in their S1 that they'd put maybe 4 or 5% of the balance sheet in the Bitwise Bitcoin ETF. And I got an introduction to a CFO of a company that had just raised $2 billion who said, hey, we saw that Figma had the Bitwise Bitcoin ETF, BATB, to get exposure on the balance sheet. And he said, we just raised $2 billion. I'd love to talk with you about, using Bitcoin as a reserve asset in our treasury. And so I thought, okay, so we set up the call. And I imagine we're going to talk a little bit about how Bitcoin works, maybe Bitcoin mining, correlations, sizing. His question was, how do I buy it? It was like a 13-minute meeting. He didn't want to talk about why would I buy it? Why could this be a good idea? He was actually just asking me, how do I buy BITB? Do I have to open a brokerage account? Do I? I believe he allocated 1 or 2% of the corporate treasury to the Bitwise Bitcoin ETF, and that anecdote, it was just intuitive to him. He's of one of these two generations where Bitcoin is intuitive. So and now he's the CFO of a company, and so he brings that intuition to that role and that mandate. And so I think this is another structural tailwind that's kind of underestimated, which is these generations are not only going to have more money to invest, but they're also going to be in positions to make decisions about different pools of capital and bases of assets. So I think it's a very sort of essential dynamic of the space, but it's one of the great structural tailwinds.
Hunter, you're obviously, you hear things. The institutions, are they dying to get their hands on Bitcoin?
I've never seen it so constructive with institutional investors as this year. Bitwise has been around for 8 years. We manage about $15 billion, one of the largest crypto asset managers in the world, about 130 people. We serve thousands of wealth management firms, institutional asset managers, banks. We have sovereign clients, endowment clients, family office clients. So we have a pretty broad sort of survey of what's going on just within Bitwise. And 2025 has absolutely been the most adoption we've seen from traditional investment firms. In the third quarter of this year, we saw the most new clients buying a Bitwise product in a single quarter that we've ever seen in the history of the firm. And to share one other anecdote, sorry that I'm just giving you long-winded responses here.
No. Go. This is what it's all about. It's conversations.
Yeah. We did one of the largest banks in the country recently approved access for their wealth management division, which manages over $1 trillion on behalf of individuals, families, and institutions. And they asked us to host an event in New York for some of their private wealth advisors. And we had one of the bank's executives who's been at the firm for over 20 years speak as part of the programming. And he shared this anecdote, which kind of blew me away, that I wanted to share here, which is he said that the management team of the bank has gone from, in the last 2 months, has gone from 0 to 500 miles an hour on crypto. He's not new to this bank. I don't know if a bank has ever gone from 0 to 500 miles an hour on anything. And they're going from 0 to 500 miles an hour on crypto, not in the last 10 years, not in the last 2 years, in the last 2 months. So I think people sense this. People have heard that this is taking place. The stories are not as easy to hear about because a lot of these firms don't tweet about it. They tell me not to tweet their name, and so on and so forth. But I think within 6 or 12 months, over half, the majority of financial institutions will be in the space in one way or another.
You know, it's fascinating when I go onto social media, X being, you know, I particularly love X, but regardless, going on social media, you would think that it's the institutions that took Bitcoin from 126 all the way down to, what was it, 82, 83? I don't even remember.
Yep.
Um, I'm gonna let you answer this question for the audience. Or was it the institutions that were selling Bitcoin, and are the institutions trying to, you know, bring down the price, as social media financial advisors would put it? And I say that being very sarcastic,
Mhm.
saying that the institutions are forcing the number to go lower and lower and lower so they can grab more and bring in their friends to get better entries.
No. You know, I will say I'm not omniscient. You know, I don't know everything that's going on, but from the cross section of clients and conversations that we have, I think it's actually the opposite. I think that there are crypto native firms that have been sellers for a variety of reasons, sometimes forced sellers. There are wealthy individuals who have been sellers. I chatted with an individual just the other day who, you know, he bought Bitcoin in 2013 and he sold 80% of it in the third quarter. You would think of this individual as a crypto native, or whatever term of you're choosing. And on the other side, our clients were buying that Bitcoin from him, and they're very happy to do it at 82,000. So the conversations with our client base, I would say, is that they're not concerned about the price. They love the opportunity to buy it cheaper, in the same way that, maybe many people in your audience would be happier to buy Nvidia stock at a $2 trillion market cap than a $4 trillion market cap, or the Qs at 500 instead of 600. So I think your vantage point on price really relates to how much of the asset you own, right? If you have 50% of your net worth in the asset, you don't really want the price to go down. But if you, as is the majority of traditional investors today, don't yet have exposure, or you only have a tiny amount of exposure, then one of the main obstacles has been feeling like you missed it. And prices pulling back gives you an opening. I think it's an incredible thing for the space. I tweeted a little bit about this dynamic. I think it's a great consolidation. People who are low conviction and are happy, somebody comes over and says, "I'll offer you $80,000 for your Bitcoin." The people who are happy to take that offer are lower conviction, or just need the liquidity. And on the flip side, it puts the Bitcoin in the hands of somebody who is happy to have 80,000 as a cost basis. They don't make any money above at 80,000, and so they have so much conviction that they think starting at 80,000 is a great place, and that shifts the ownership base. I think that consolidation is really impactful. And one other example of this that I would share is we launched the Bitwise Solana staking ETF maybe about a month ago, BSOL. The market has been down only. Thank you.
Congratulations. I was going to get to that, but congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm delighted. It's a testament to Solana. We try to construct a very high quality product for investors, but ultimately they have to want to own the asset, and that's it's not a story about Bitwise. It's a story about the asset. But the way I wanted to tie this to the topic is the price of Solana has only been down since that product launched, and it's taken in $700 million of assets. So what does that tell you? The people who buy ETFs are excited to be able to buy it more cheaply. So that's the dynamic I see right now. Of course, I don't see everything, but I think that the story of the moment is the asset class is moving from early adopters only, brilliant people, amazing people. The people at Bitwise are early adopters. My friends, the two of us, the listeners probably, to being a mainstream asset class where new cohorts of investors are coming into the space. And that's going to be an amazing thing. And it's definitely fully underway.
Hunter, do you believe in the 4-year cycle? Do you think that is it over with, or do you believe in it? Because it's been talked about ad nauseum, whether it's on Spaces or whatever across social media. You just read. there are people are divided. Like I don't believe there's a 4-year cycle, and I might be, but hey, I just click buttons, right? And I do, and I have a microphone, and I just talk, right? But you have people that are going back and forth and saying like, I don't believe there's a 4-year cycle anymore. I think there's been a complete reset. What do you think about that?
I'm like you, David, and your listeners. I'm just trying to understand what's going on, same as everyone else. I think that Bitwise was one of the first firms to introduce the 4-year cycles a number of years ago. My current perspective is that they're over. I think that they're over for the following sort of point of view. The 4-year cycles are based on a pattern that has been emergent across a period of 12 years. 12 years is not 100 years, and it's not 200 years. 12 years is a meaningful but not incredibly long time span. And if you think back to 12 years ago, the market structure is just incredibly different. The market structure fundamentally changed in 2024. And I think that is really the reason that the 4-year cycles are over. Take the second cycle, which is I think 20 in the way that we think of it is around ended in 2018. In 2017, the only ways that you could buy crypto would be Coinbase and Poloniex and Bitfinex and BitMEX. There was only one qualified custodian, that was Kingdom Trust. There were no institutions, zero, almost zero. And it was all individuals, and we were all reading the same news. We were all responding to the same information. We were then all making the same decision at the same time through the same set of applications for the same reasons. And so the space would whip around and was very homogenous. If you fast forward to the post-2024 era, there's now all sorts of different investors. There are some of the largest hedge funds in the world that trade Bitwise products. There are endowments, there's sovereign nations, there are large family office, there are individuals, there are wealth managers. They have different perspectives. They also see different information. They have different time horizons, different goals, different needs for liquidity. They're using different instruments. And the market structure has matured. So I think that has resulted in a more heterogeneous market structure where there's different people, different views at the same moment in time. And I think that's a reason that the model, which is based on those 12 years of data, 12 years plus, was a pattern in a data set, and I think it's just different today. So that's my current view on it. It'll become self-evident if we end the year down, then we don't even have to theorize about this. It will just have implicitly broken the 4-year cycle. I do think that a lot of people think about the 4-year cycles. I think that's relevant. I think it's a good mental model. So I don't mean to be dismissive. It's just my current view that the market has changed over the last 18 months in a way where the data set is just different than the data set that model is based on.
What's your what's your favorite
asset? What
do
you think, David? What do you think?
I honestly, Hunter, I don't believe in the 4-year cycle anymore. Like, I believe, okay, we've had previous cycles, 4 years. I get it, but like, I just need somebody to explain to me. You have, well, I guess institutions have always been in the game, but now like this air quote cycle, they officially announced that they're here, right? Everybody's announced that we are here, right?
Mhm.
We've gotten more clarity. There's regulations that are at work in Washington. And like, I'm just sitting back and I'm like, I hear Kay Wood go on, I think it was CNBC or whatnot. And she goes, well, we haven't even, put money into this, economy, like at all. We haven't done anything yet. And I'm sitting back and I'm like, how can we be in a cycle? Like, I just don't understand it. Maybe the education that I received growing up isn't good. But like, from what I look and when I look at the data, like it says that like we haven't started. Maybe we're early to the party. I feel like we're, I'll put it this way. I feel like we're early to the party. I feel like we came for the party, but we're at the pregame. Like that,
Yeah.
that's the feeling that I have. And I feel like
Yeah.
maybe quarter one, quarter two of 2026,
Mhm.
we get to see, you know, some real good things happening here. Like
Yeah.
again, do I know what's going to happen? No, I'm not Miss Cleo.
Mhm.
I can't
Yeah.
see into the future, but from all the talks from the institutional players and regular people on Wall and retail who I feel like are really smart, they're like
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't see it. This has been a run up on Bitcoin. That's it. Would you not agree? This has just been a run up on Bitcoin and nothing else.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I do. I do. I agree with everything you're saying, and I agree with the framing that I think the party maybe hasn't even started for as an analogy.
I mean, retail
Yeah.
can't be here, Hunter, because like retail is unfortunately they're broke. Uh, uh,
Mm.
you know, like uh, I feel like the what is it, $1.27 trillion in credit card debt that comes from the New
Mhm.
York Fed. I
Mhm.
mean, look at
Mhm.
all the data. Like, how is
Mhm.
retail even coming in here to participate? They
Mhm.
can't buy Bitcoin. They're not even thinking about buying Bitcoin. They're thinking
Mhm.
about how do I pay my rent. So, I mean, what
Mhm.
we had, let's say last cycle, where you had like the Wall Street bets and
Mhm.
retail came together. They
Yeah.
went after AMC and GameStop. You
Mhm.
don't have that yet. Like, you just all you hear is Michael Saylors of the world. I mean,
Mhm.
you got everybody just, hey, like it's a bunch
Mhm.
of institutional players and
Mhm.
hedges getting in and just buying up Bitcoin and buying as much up as they can. And if it goes down,
Mhm.
all I'm hearing is like we're buying more. So
Mhm.
again, institutional run on Bitcoin. That's how I
Yeah.
feel.
Yep. Yeah. I agree with you. I agree with you. I would also say that there's some analysis that's been done by the Bitwise research team. It's on our website, but the project of being an investor in this space um, goes from hard to easy as you push out your time frame. So, if you're trying to be the smartest investor today on Tuesday, November 25th, that's really hard. What should you be doing today? If you're trying to figure out how to be the smartest investor this week, that's really hard. But if you push it out and say, how can I be a smart investor over the next 2 years or 4 years or 6 years? Well, the research shows that you could have bought Bitcoin in the entirety of Bitcoin's history at any time, including highs, and as long as you held it for 3 years, you made money. I think that to the comment about being early and where we are in adoption, to some extent, if people are willing to just say, um, I should just hold this asset and not stress myself out wondering every week, every month, then I think it gets a lot simpler. And if we are indeed early, then I think it'll really have benefited people to have taken a long-term time horizon on things. Not
Listen,
everyone's
I'm
in that
sure a
position.
bunch of retail players came in through ETFs, and I'm talking about like retail, like the type of retail that would never own a wallet. You know, they don't care
Yeah,
about C phrases. That I understand, but I was
sure,
talking about like the ones particularly that
sure.
go through Coinbase or
Yeah.
Gemini or whatnot to go ahead and purchase crypto. They're not here yet, so that's kind of like what I see, here on social media when I gauge the sentiment for,
Yeah.
when you ask the 4 year cycle. Well,
Mhm.
again, I think we're pre-game here, but
Yeah.
you
I think
guys.
another tailwind for the space that sometimes gets overlooked is the opportunity is growing. So the passage of time, we talked about the dynamic around generations that have an intuitive preference and conviction are being put in positions to make decisions. There's also the tailwind that's often discussed about them inheriting wealth, they're growing their own wealth, and so on and so forth. But a third one that I think is sometimes forgotten is the opportunity for crypto is the money in the world. How much money is in the world? And then that money goes and parks in different parking spots depending on what it needs. So it might park itself in equities. Right now, there's $125 trillion parked in equities because they want the
Crazy.
risk reward and correlations of equities. There's 100 trillion parked in fixed income. There's 200 trillion parked in real estate. There's 30 trillion parked in gold. They move their parking spots, right? So sometimes the money will move to a different home. And I think that is going to increasingly happen out of fixed income as rates come down and they say, I liked fixed income at 4%. I don't like it at 2%. But the other thing that's happening is the total amount of money is increasing. And so, for instance, the conversation about digital gold, well, like 6 years ago, when if you talked about digital gold and Bitcoin's opportunity to be an alternative to gold, the market cap of gold was 20 trillion. Now it's 30. The opportunity's grown 50% in the meantime. And I think this is another structural tailwind that puts time on the side of the crypto investor, which is you could, you're growing your share of the dollars that are looking for investment solutions, but the amount of dollars is also increasing. And I think it's yet another reason why investors should seriously consider making their allocation a size that they're just happy to hold for several years and then not sweating it every week or every month. I lost the audio. 1 second. Can you hear me, David? Interesting. I can't hear you.
Hopefully you hear me.
I hear you now.
Let me check
Yes, I hear.
You hear me
Yeah,
now?
I'm sorry about that.
Okay, perfect. I was going to say, hopefully you guys learned something here. A Hunter from Bitwise. I appreciate you coming on. I hope this is not your last time coming on to the program. Love to definitely do like a podcast. Have a podcast we're putting together. Love to do a one-on-one and just go over this kind of stuff. Because you know what? I think the lack of education that we have in this space, it's huge. Like people are blaming the institutions for, like, when I sit back and I see people blame the institutions for, stuff going from, Bitcoin particularly going from 126 to the current price points because they want to get their friends in. I just think that there are a lot of uneducated people within the space, and then you have like anonymous accounts that are just pushing this kind of pushing this kind of crap, and it gives things a bad look. And I really want to see more people educated about Bitcoin and everything that's happening within the crypto ecosystem. So I appreciate you definitely coming on today.
Well, we're all trying our best to learn, and you do a great job of providing education. So thank you for having me on, David.
Trying, Hunter. Thank you so much.
All right.
That is Hunter. Give him a follow. You have him in the links. We will try to go ahead and get him on in the future to go ahead and talk about a non-4-year cycle. That was Hunter, man. Give a round of applause. That's Hunter. And I am now going, of course, the technical difficulties come into play. But we will be right back after this commercial break. It's my birthday. That was Hunter. Go follow him. Bitwise, go follow them as well. You heard it, man. Like a Hunter saying, like, listen, we're buying. We're buying Bitcoin. We are buying Bitcoin. I know people that are buying Bitcoin. Okay, some are selling, but we're buying Bitcoin. There you heard it. So anybody who's out there who's telling you otherwise, maybe it's time to unfollow them. I'm putting it out there. Maybe it's just time to unfollow a few individuals. Okay. Maybe by unfollowing certain people, maybe you'll do better. But we'll be right back after this commercial break. That's right. Gemini is the proud sponsor of The Breakdown, episode 626. Okay? Bitcoin.com. Bitcoin.com. I've been talking about Bitcoin so much, I said bitcoin.com/David G. This is why I need the voiceover, but Gemini.com/David G. Go to the website. And go look at the lineup of credit cards that Gemini has to offer to you. Issued by WebBank. You have the Bitcoin credit card, you got the XRP credit card, and you have the Solana credit card. Go check it out. Gemini.com/David G. This episode is sponsored again by Gemini, and go click on the link, my link. Go click my link, trade $1,000 in crypto, get $100 in Bitcoin. Terms apply, new signups only. And yes, I've already heard your complaints. You live in Canada or some other goddamn country and you're trying to sign up, but you can't. Don't worry. I've noted it all. But if you can't sign up, go sign up. Gemini.com. Use my link. Okay, use my link. God damn it. We'll be back right after this. What's going on? I'm back. We had Hunter on from Bitwise. It was a pleasure. It's my birthday. It is episode 626. Sponsored by Gemini, the good folks at Gemini. I need somebody from Gemini to send me some music for the commercial. Okay, I'm gonna start begging out here. But listen, interesting points made. I was having technical difficulties I just want you to know what kind of professional I am, as I am having difficulties because for some reason the connection was in and out and it was being spotty. I was still doing my job. Okay. Like nobody else. I was out here like the consummate professional. No sweat, no nothing. I was staring at the camera. All I could hear is Hunter speak. At one point, it got so bad, all I heard was Hunter speaking. And I was like, okay, no problem. It's showtime. We'll go keep this going because the people love it and I love the people. And by the way, I'm getting a lot of comments. People loved Hunter and they appreciated him being on here today. A lot of people got educated. That's right. So as I stated before we went to commercial break, maybe it's time to look at your circle. Okay, maybe it's just time to look at the people that you're surrounding yourself with and start questioning. Like, is this person hurting me from leveling up in life? Because a lot of this shit that you guys say when I come on here onto social media, that's what I mean. When I come onto social media, the shit that you guys say is absolutely dog shit. Like, absolutely. Like, where did you get this from? And then when you guys say, well, I got it from this guy, and this guy's PFP is of a turtle, okay? A turtle smoking off of a bong or some shit. I understand. I start to understand why you're in your current predicament. I start to understand. I get it. I get it. It's unreal, man. Like you literally have people that are working in these markets telling you, man, they're looking to acquire more. Like, what else do you need? What else do you need? I just asked about the 4-year cycle. I asked, like, do you believe in the 4-year cycle? No, we're done with it. I think we're done with the 4-year cycle. I've been saying this, and people have called me crazy people have called me fucking nuts for saying that the 4-year cycle is gone, done with. We're done. That's why there's so many veterans that are confused. I talked to some of the most elite. I'm talking about people that are way smarter than me, and I never claimed to be the smartest person in the room, but there are people that are smarter than me that are literally saying, we don't understand what's happening here. Like, we got to take a step back and we got to analyze this a little bit differently now, because this is not what the previous cycles look like. This is coming for people that live and breathe this shit. That some of them work in the markets. Like, I'm not trying to win. I'm not trying to say that you, like, for anybody who has the opposite opinion and you also work in the markets, that's fine. But I'm just saying there are other people that don't share the same thoughts. Okay. They think we have something incredible on our hands. Like I said, this entire thing has been nothing more than an institutional run-up. That's it. We really haven't seen things. The rate cut's not in. You got $2,000 checks that will go out. Next, Harry went ahead and stated it. Next year, maybe quarter 1, quarter 2 of 2026, they'll start sending off checks. Those checks are going to retail. Okay, those checks are going to be people. I'm not saying everybody 100%, but you're going to have at least 10% of the crowd go into the financial markets, and they're going to end up in crypto. You have that, rates are going to come down. You know they're going to cut rates. They're going to cut rates. Trump is not leaving office. Trump will not leave office with people saying that he did not fix this economy. Trump has always stated that he wants to see retail win. Even with this, what is it? A few months ago, he had beef with Wall Street. It's like 44% A Wall Street should not be owned by foreign entities. He wants retail to buy. He literally came out there and his sons come out here. Eric Trump comes out here talking about buy the dip. He's not talking to the institutions. He's talking to retail. And no, he's not trying to exit on retail. All right, listen, we can joke around about that kind of stuff. We can go ahead and throw jokes around. I have no problem with that. But he is not out here trying to dunk on retail. He's not. He's not. I don't believe that for a second. And if I don't believe it, I would not believe that the president's son is out here purposely trying to dunk on your forehead. I don't believe it. That's what I'm saying. Like, man, like sometimes you got to back away from social media and you got to do your own research and you got to do your own homework. And you can't listen to all these motherfuckers that are out here, okay, with no skin in the game telling you what's about to happen. You got to take a step back. You got to take you got to take a step back. Welcome to the Breakdown, episode 626. Man, I got to tell you, these connection problems, man. I got like the ultimate internet, man. I got the ultimate internet, and I'm going through this shit right now. Like, this is so fucked up. I swear to God, man. On my birthday. This is crazy, man. This is fucking wild. Wild. Literally wild shit. It's wild, man. Anyway, at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be joined by the one, the only Peter Schiff, and I just want to have a conversation. I'm honestly, I'm not looking to go and throw haymakers here. I know that's what people want me to do, okay? But we'll have a conversation because we got to put this to end. We got to put the slander of Bitcoin to end. And I hold gold, so we gotta go ahead and put this to end. We gotta be friends again and stuff. Hold on, let me see if should I try to attempt to. God damn it, monitor 1 is out. Monitor 1 is out again. I swear to God, I hate everything right now. On my birthday, monitor 1 goes out. Crazy work. Hold on, we'll be back right after this commercial break. Crazy work. The Breakdown, episode 626, sponsored by Gemini. Go visit Gemini. They got a full lineup of credit cards. Go to gemini.com/David G. All right, here we go. We'll be on in 20 seconds. That's right. I got to do my own voiceovers. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Okay. God damn. I know you guys hear me. Let me just do one thing. Make sure it's working. All right, let's see if it's working. Am I driving blind? I am. It's okay. It is what it is. I can do this blind here. All right, let's bring in Peter. Okay, let's bring in Peter. You guys have been waiting for Peter. Peter, what's going on?
You are looking very dapper there. I had no idea that this would be a crypto show and you'd have a tie on and a jacket and all that. I would have dressed up had I had known it.
That's I get it. You probably did interviews with others. They don't come suited up. I talk about everything, crypto, politics, but obviously crypto is a passion. But I appreciate you making the time. Mutual friend put this together, so I want to give him credit as well. But thank you again. I appreciate it.
Oh, well, thanks for having me on.
All right, Peter. I watch you daily come onto the timeline and just utterly disrespect Bitcoin. Why, Peter? Why?
Well, I was just watching the promo before I came on. They're talking about Bitcoin as the new gold. And I think that's a fraud. I have to expose that. It's not the new gold. It's not gold at all. Gold is the new gold. You know what the new gold is? Tokenized gold. I'm trying to do that a little bit myself with T-Gold. But Bitcoin, it's a collectible token. I don't know why people collect them. They think that the collections are going to get more valuable as more collectors, come into the hobby. But it's not gold. If you want gold, buy gold. If you want the convenience of a token, buy tokenized gold, which represents an actual claim on real gold, actual ownership of gold that you can take delivery of or that you can transfer title to, by transferring your token. But Bitcoin is a completely different animal. But if it's going to be fraudulently portrayed as some kind of digital equivalent of gold, I'm not going to just sit back and allow that to happen. I'm going to expose it.
Peter, you would have bought it at $300 though. Like you
Yeah.
literally said it. You missed out.
Yes.
You would have bought it at $300 and your tune would have been different.
No, it would be the same. I would just be a lot richer.
Really?
I would be saying the exact same thing. I just have a lot more money. That's all. Because I would have sold out my Bitcoin. I mean, is it possible that if I bought a bunch of Bitcoin when I first heard about it, and it was a lot cheaper than 300 when I first learned about it, but had I bought it and had I become a billionaire because I would have held it long enough to cash out $1 billion, would I still have a little bit? Maybe. I don't know. There's no way to know. But I don't believe that I would feel any differently about it. I believe that, my views are sincere, regardless of, my personal position. I mean, had I bought it, it wouldn't have been because I believed in it. It would have been because I believed that other people would believe in it and that I might be able to, profit from their greed and their, ignorance. But I didn't do that. I missed out on the opportunity to do that. But that doesn't change
People are also greedy when they
reality.
get gold. I hold gold. People are greedy when they also try to acquire gold.
Not really. I mean, people who buy gold are trying to preserve.
Centuries. We have centuries of people being greedy to go ahead and acquire gold.
Well, no. Well, you're talking about to acquire wealth. Yes, people are greedy in that they want more things, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when they're converting what they've earned into gold, that's not the greed part. That's the preservation part. I've earned all this money because I was greedy. Now I don't want to lose it. I want to store it so I can use it later. I don't want to blow it all right now. I want to hold on to it. And, gold is a way to do that. You can't really do that in a fiat currency that's just being printed, into oblivion. So, but the greed is in the speculative frenzy that accompanies Bitcoin. Now, you could say there's some people who are buying gold because they think it's going to go way up, not just because they think it's going to store its value. And so there is some of that. but not nearly what you see in Bitcoin. I mean, people in Bitcoin are looking at $1 million of Bitcoin, $10 million of Bitcoin. I mean, people don't talk about that for gold unless you're talking about hyperinflation, which, of course, if there's hyperinflation, then everything is $1 million. So it's irrelevant.
So hold on, Peter. You think that BlackRock, Fidelity, and all these institutional players got it completely wrong with Bitcoin?
Well, I don't know what they actually believe, right? If I got down into a room with some of these, big guys at BlackRock or Fidelity and asked them for their honest opinion, they probably would agree with me. But I think what they are doing is, what any, casino operator is going to do. They see a demand for a particular type of gaming, and rather than having people go to a competitor's casino and gamble, they just assume get the action themselves. So I think Wall Street got into it because there was enough demand by the public to trade it. And so that's what they're doing. I mean, they're just, you're talking about greed. There's a lot of greed on Wall Street. And these big banks wanted to get in on the crypto action, not because they believed that it's a long-term viable thing. They just want to make some money now. They want to feed the ducks while they're quacking. And that's what they're doing, and they're going to go along for the ride as long as they can. But, I don't think it means that they're buying this stuff with their own money, that they're recommending it, to their parents. Hey, mom, put some money in Bitcoin. They probably say, look, stay out of this casino. I don't want you losing money here, but I don't care if these other customers lose money. And that's been an attitude on Wall Street that's, been around for a long time.
But you've been it's your tweets that I read.
Well, you should read them. There's a lot of wisdom in those tweets.
I read them. I think your son's doing a great job. He understands.
But no, he hasn't posted about Bitcoin in a couple of years, so
he doesn't need to post about it. He just said, "Hey, I think Dad's wrong. I think Dad's wrong out here." But I read your posts. You consistently said it's never going to go over 50. It's never going to go. I had your tweet as my banner. You said it'll never go over 100K.
Yeah, and I didn't think it was going to go to 100K at the time, but I did think that it could go to 50. I remember saying when it was under 10,000 that it can go to 50,000. But I did believe at a time, after it went to 69,000 and then had that big drop, I thought that the top was in. So I thought that this $100,000 stuff wasn't going to happen. And I believe that but for the election of Donald Trump, it wouldn't have happened. And so back then, I wasn't really thinking in terms of how a Donald Trump presidency could, put so much air back into that bubble. But it really was a combination of the ETF demand and then the Donald Trump presidency, which really fueled more MicroStrategy buying and then the copycat buying from the more Bitcoin treasury companies. So they were able to get it to 100,000. The question is it ever going to go back to 100,000? I mean, we'll see. Maybe 126,000 was the top. I'm not going to say, it's impossible for it to get back above there because clearly it is possible. It may even be probable. I don't know. But there's a high chance that, that was it. That was the last gasp. And I think a lot of the big money is exiting. And so I just don't see where the impetus is unless
it's the best performing asset for the last 15 years. This, Peter.
It's the worst performing asset this year. In case you haven't noticed that.
You know what I want to say? Unlike everybody else, I guess that wants to bring you on and fight with you. I don't even want to fight with you. I want to understand the logic. That's really me. I don't like the I got you moments. To me, I have gold. So why am I going to fight with you? There's nothing to fight about.
Oh, gold is very
you can
different.
have gold and you can have Bitcoin. That's really it. And I don't know why you're standing so hard when there's when I have here, Peter. I just want to give you my side. When I have conversations with people, whether it's in New York City, whether it's whatever country it
Do
is. When I
people
have these
ever mistake
conversations,
you? Wait, do people ever mistake you for Mandami when you're in New York?
here we go. Another one. Another one. I don't even know how to take this now. Him, Grant Cardone said the same thing when he came on last week or 2 weeks ago. He said the same shit.
But anyway, go
Peter,
as you.
no,
I didn't mean to
here's
interrupt you.
my
Go ahead.
biggest
I
thing.
just
I respect your opinion. Like, okay, it is what it is. You dislike. For me personally, you dislike it because you missed it. That's
no,
it.
no, no.
You do.
No. I regret missing it. I'd be
Okay. But regret brings a
disingenuous
lot
to
of
say.
things.
But no. It's not like I'm like I got jilted and I'm like and I or sour grapes or something. Look, it is what it is, right? Whether I profited from it or not, my views are the same. Now, you own gold. Fine. There's nothing wrong with owning gold. I mean, you should own gold, but people
Right.
can own
That
gold
was great.
and people can own gold and still speculate in tech stocks. They're not mutually exclusive.
Okay.
People can own gold and buy lottery tickets. So it's not like once you own gold, you can't do something risky.
Peter,
So
nobody's buying gold with. Nobody's using gold to buy lottery tickets or anything.
no, gold, the money
So
that you want.
at CVS, like chopping away.
Yeah, no. Gold is the money you want to keep safe, right? That's your long-term store of value. That's a different bucket than your speculative investments. And you're going to have to put Bitcoin in that speculative bucket. I mean, in fact, it's very speculative, so it needs its own bucket that's even further into the speculative sphere than the normal speculative bucket. But that's where Bitcoin belongs. See, I'm not telling people that they can't gamble on Bitcoin if they want to. I mean, maybe they'll make money. A lot of people have made a lot of money on Bitcoin, but a lot of people are going to lose a lot of money on Bitcoin. People aren't going to lose money on gold. I mean, they could in theory because they could sell it when it goes down.
I mean, what if the gold bugs decide to go ahead and take their profits and go into Bitcoin?
Well, they're doing the opposite now. They're getting out of Bitcoin. They're going into gold. Why do you think gold's up more than 50% this year and Bitcoin is down?
But that's the older generation, and congratulations to us. Listen, again, you're going to hear a different standpoint from me. I'm not going to tell you that gold is trash. I'm not one of these guys. I'm not going to say gold is trash, like, because it's not. But but I believe you're going to see a lot of gold bugs take profit. And they're going to scale it into Bitcoin.
You know what happened?
Whether you like that or not.
What happened with the gold bugs, right? A lot of gold bugs were frustrated over the years by gold's sideways action. Gold consolidated for like 12, 13 years, from 2011 to 2014, 2024. Gold didn't go anywhere. And that was the environment where Bitcoin flourished because the Bitcoin promoters were able to go to the gold guys and say, what are you guys doing? You're wasting your time. The asset's going nowhere. Buy Bitcoin. It's the new gold 2.0. Look at how much it's gone up, right? And I think that there were gold bugs that bought into that, especially when the ETFs were launched in early 2024. I think a lot of the money that went into the Bitcoin ETFs came out of gold ETFs and gold stocks. But now that gold is finally doing well, the people that are still in gold, they're not going to throw away their hand now. The ones that were kind of weak and they already folded, right? And they got into Bitcoin. And so what I think is going to happen is the gold bugs that became Bitcoin bugs because Bitcoin was doing so great and gold was going sideways, they're going to look back next year and like, crap, I shouldn't have sold my Bitcoin. I should have kept my gold. I'd have so much more money if I had just held on to my gold. They may decide, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm taking my chips off this table. I'm buying my gold back, and I'm never going to make that mistake again. So that's more likely to happen, I think. And I think the people who own gold, who didn't buy Bitcoin a year or two ago, they're like, I dodged that bullet. I'm glad I didn't fall for that hype and buy into Bitcoin because, it's not about the 10-year track record or the 15-year track record when you didn't own it for 10 or 15 years. Gold has been eating Bitcoin's lunch for the last 4 years. It is way outperforming Bitcoin. And so I think people are going to look at that. It's like the song, what have you done for me lately? Bitcoin hasn't done anything for people lately except lose them money.
No, well, depending. Listen, somebody could have got it to gold at all-time high, and now they're
Barely, they're
down. So they
barely
could have lost
down.
money too,
I mean,
right?
gold is like
You
4,100.
got to say the same thing. You can't say, "Oh, but you're still up on gold when you bought at 43
Yeah, but it
and
was
it's at
only there
41,
for
right?"
like one day. How many people go Bitcoin?
Who knows?
Bitcoin is down 40%
Maybe they
price to
saw
gold.
you and they were like, "Oh my God, he's selling me gold. I got to
Gold
jump
is
in."
barely down.
You can't, but it went down,
Nothing.
right?
Well,
Hold on.
yeah.
But here's my thing. You're not even
No, I
hearing
am.
me
There's
out.
nothing
I,
that goes up in a straight line. There's nothing
no,
that
but
goes
what
up
I'm
every
saying, you're not
day.
even hearing my point. When I sit down with the younger generation, they're not talking about
I know
gold.
that's
Peter,
unfortunate.
there is
They're not that smart, the younger gen. They weren't educated right.
oh,
Why do you think your twin got elected mayor? You know, because
oh
young
my
people are
God. First of
gullible. They
all,
don't know. They
don't
don't
get me
know.
started on him. Don't get me started on Mandani. Okay, like I've already
You
made my
just gotta
thoughts
be
known
careful
about that.
walking down the street. You know,
Hey, it is what it is.
but
I'm
you,
a New Yorker.
but
I'm
the,
fine, man. I'm not
but you can
scared of
probably get
shit.
a really good
All I'm
table
trying
at
to
a
tell you,
restaurant.
Peter,
You know,
you're reading
you
the
can get a
crowd
good
wrong.
table, huh?
There's so many young Peter that are just looking when you sit down. And I was just Hunter was on CEO of Bitwise. He was on like that. What he agreed with this. Like when I sit down with people, they're talking about Bitcoin, digital assets. They're not talking about
Exactly.
gold. They really
Exactly. That's
aren't.
why it's a bubble. Yeah, nobody's talking
It's
about
not how's
gold.
it a bubble.
It's cheap.
You can say
No,
gold
there's no
bubble.
gold bubble. No one's talking about it. You just said so.
We can't even
Huh?
account for gold. We can't
What
even
do you mean you
account for
can't account
gold.
for it?
Well, let's look into Fort Knox.
Yeah,
Let's see if they
we
got the
probably don't
gold.
have the gold we claim. Yeah, I agree.
See, there you
Yeah,
go.
I think it could but that's bullish for gold. That means we don't have the gold. We need to go buy some.
What do you mean? We got plenty of gold somewhere that we haven't dug up yet.
Yeah, there's still gold. That's why I own mining stocks. I want to dig that gold up because I want to sell it because there's going to be so much demand for it. You know, it's central banks that have been buying a lot of gold the last couple of years as they're getting out of the dollar, they're getting into gold. But I think the public and institutions that have really been ignoring gold for years are going to now start buying it. And some of those investors made the mistake of buying Bitcoin instead of gold. So I think they're going to correct that mistake.
Nobody's ignoring gold. I don't think anybody's really
Sure they
ignoring
are.
gold. It's just that Bitcoin is easier to transact
But
with.
no one's
That's it.
transacting with
It's
it. They're
easier.
just
It costs
gambling
less
with
to
it. They're
transact
trading it.
Bitcoin than it does
Well,
with
look,
gold.
people are trading Bitcoin, right? It's just as easy for me to go into my brokerage account and buy a gold ETF as it is to buy a Bitcoin ETF. That's just one click of a mouse. It's the same thing. People are just trading their gold. They're not going into a store and buying a cup of coffee and paying with Bitcoin. That's not what's happening. And by the way, if you want to,
What do you mean? There are stores that accept
no,
Bitcoin.
through BitPay, it's not like we really get the Bitcoin. We let people sell.
You accept
No,
Bitcoin as a
No,
form of
BitPay
payment.
accepts it. We accept dollars from BitPay.
Oh
But
my God.
my point is, so
Semantics.
if you go into the Starbucks, they don't have a sign, you know, Bitcoin here. We accept Bitcoin. But people don't even want to spend their Bitcoin. They want to spend their fiat. They want to hold all their Bitcoin because they think it's going to the moon. But if you actually want to transact with a digital currency, like not just gamble that the price goes up, but if you're actually a merchant and you want to be paid in a digital currency as opposed to a fiat currency or whatever, credit card or something like that, tokenized gold works way better than Bitcoin. I mean, 100 times, a million times better. It's faster, it's cheaper, and it's way less volatile. So you can price stuff in it. That's what I'm doing. You know,
And we don't know how much supply we got. We don't know how much supply we got.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know exactly, but so what? There's not a lot of it.
Exactly. There's gold on asteroids.
What good is that going to do us here on Earth? The asteroid.
But I'm just saying there's gold all over the place.
It only counts.
There's an infinite
It
supply
only
of
counts
gold.
on Earth or in a close enough proximity. Let's assume there's some gold on some asteroid somewhere. You know how much money it's going to cost to get that gold? Do you know how expensive gold would have to be before anybody would try to mine it on an asteroid? I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, right now we got to mine the gold that's here on Earth. That's the cheapest gold we're ever going to find. And so that I own a lot of gold stocks because I think gold's going a lot higher. And so there's going to be a lot more interest in mining it. In fact, I've got a gold mining mutual fund, the Euro Pacific Gold Fund. EPGIX is the symbol. If any of your viewers have a account, at any of the discount brokers, you can buy it no load. EPGIX is the symbol. I think if you really want to make 5 or 10 times your money, forget about Bitcoin. That ship has sailed, right? But I think you've got plenty of time to make those returns in gold mining stocks. They're still really cheap, I think.
Peter, you say that time has sailed. Meanwhile, Kate Wood, some of the smartest individuals.
Well, wait, I don't know about smartest individual. You talk about Kathy Wood, but all right.
Well, here we go. But look, there are so many smart people that are. You know what it is? I really have to go back to this. I think you're not reading the pulse of the crowd. I think you spend too much time on X and you're getting the wrong read. Because X is not the universe.
I will agree with you.
To Elon.
I will agree with you that there are a lot of smart people who have been fooled into this thing, right? The people in crypto are not dumb. I mean, they're high IQ, probably intelligent people. But just because you're smart doesn't mean you're not susceptible to get caught up in this thing.
You're basically saying that every institution was, that it has absolutely I'm not going to even talk about the high
the institutions. I already told you. The institutions
you're
don't
basically
care.
saying that everybody got hoodwinked. The quants that work at these institutions, they didn't read this right.
Look. They're all
they didn't read it.
No, they're just reading the room. They're taking the temperature. They're seeing where the action is. They're seeing what does the public want to buy? What are they excited about? And it was crypto. It was Bitcoin. And so they got into it because of that. That's why they weren't into it 5 or 10 years ago, right? Bitcoin was around 10 years ago. All these institutions knew about it. They didn't want anything to do with it because they knew it was a fraud, but there wasn't any money to be made, and they weren't, trying to encourage people. But once it developed this life of its own and became so popular and even corrupted the politicians who now all these congressmen and the president and his whole family, they're all in on it. Now it's like they can't ignore it anymore. And it's like, you know what? I'm not going to just sit here and just say, it's bullshit and let all my competitors, make all the money. They just came into it.
Peter,
they don't believe. They're not.
What about the dollar?
Not that they believe in it.
But what about the dollar?
What about it?
It's dog shit.
Well, I mean, they think it's just less stinky than all the other dog shit currencies out there.
It's the biggest shit coin in the world.
That's why there's gold, right? And that's why central banks.
But what is gold supported by?
It's supported by itself. It's supported by its properties that are very valuable, and it's got a 5,000-year history of being valued based on those properties.
Seashells had a value at one point.
Huh?
Seashells had a value at one point.
They still do. They still have some value. I mean, I don't know. I have my kids collect seashells. They look on the beach. They try to find a pretty one.
Have more value than just being collectibles off of a beach.
Well, in certain societies, yes. But you know what gave the seashells value? Is that women liked to wear them as jewelry, right? They like to adorn themselves with these seashells. And so you could wear your seashells, and also you're also wearing a status symbol of, look how many seashells I got, look how rich I am, right? So there was something you could do with the seashells, right? That was the whole concept of them, which gave them value. Because in order to get a seashell, right, you'd have to go down to the sea and find one. And I assume that this back then, I don't know, when seashells were money, but they probably had to be in pretty good shape. I mean, if it was like a half a seashell, if it was kind of beat up, it probably wasn't worth anything. You probably had to come out of the sea with a nice one, right, for anybody to really want it. But that's the whole concept. Look, cigarettes were money. After World War II, the GIs used them. In fact, they still use cigarettes as money in prisons, right? And the reason cigarettes work as money is because you could smoke them. There are people that are addicted to cigarettes, that need cigarettes, And so cigarettes have value. Even if you don't smoke, somebody in prison does. And so that's what gives it value. The fact that there are some people that are dumb enough to smoke cigarettes, right? Even
Peter, have
with
you
all
ever
the
been
stuff we know.
unbanked?
So the point about Bitcoin is you can't smoke it. You can't do anything with it. I mean, you got to be smoking
Who's
something to
smoking
believe in
gold?
it.
Who's smoking gold?
No, you don't have to smoke gold. You can make jewelry out of it. You can conduct
Okay.
electricity with it. That gold has a use, just like cigarettes have a use, just like seashells had a use. Bitcoin doesn't have a use. It's nothing. All you
Bit-
can do is give it to somebody else.
But
It's a Ponzi. It's
it's
a
a
pyramid.
peer-to-peer transactional system. What do you like? It
So
has
what?
a use case. Let me ask you a question. If
I
you
don't need
have you ever
Bitcoin
been
to
unbanked?
transact.
Have you ever been unbanked?
Yes, I have actually.
Wouldn't okay? It sucks, right? Where like at a click
Yeah,
of a
and
button.
I had my bank accounts closed a couple, after those articles came out accusing me of money laundering and tax evasion. Yeah, I had bank accounts closed. It's a pain in the ass. Yeah, I know.
Don't you use Bitcoin to go ahead and use it as a transactional tool?
Well, look, you could use all kinds of cryptocurrencies
No,
as
but
a
I'm talking about
transactional
specifically
tool. You don't have to use
Bitcoin. Forget
Bitcoin.
about the other cryptocurrencies. I'm talking
No,
about
because
Bitcoin.
what's so special about Bitcoin?
It's not special. It's that you can transact.
But you can
Your
transact
account
in
closed.
thousands of other ones too. Why can't I just use Fartcoin?
You want to use Fartcoin?
No, but why not use that? Bitcoin, Fartcoin, what's the difference? They both stink.
Oh my God. What will make, oh my God. I gotta tell you, man. He knows it. Peter doesn't let this on, but he knows his shit. He is probably a trencher. I gotta say, Peter's probably a trencher, and he knows about
No.
all the digital assets that are out
I
here.
am a no,
He knows
I am a
about
no
all the
coiner.
memes.
I'm a no coiner. Although I do have my strategic Bitcoin reserve. I haven't checked it in a while. That people made contributions to, and my crypto stockpile.
Oh my God. Welcome to. I got one or two more questions, and I'm going to let Peter go because I know Peter is busy on time. I appreciate that he came on to the breakdown, episode 626. Apparently, I'm the twin of Mandani from New York.
Well, that's not an insult. I mean, he may not be, good on economics, but he's not a bad looking guy. I think that's one of the reasons he got the votes. I think the women like him.
I think I'm better looking, but I don't know.
You might, you probably are. I might give you that. You might be a little better looking than he is.
Thank you, Peter. I appreciate that. At least I get that. Let's round of applause on that one. This show is sponsored by Gemini. That's right. Get your Bitcoin from Gemini. There you go. Peter's like, don't do that. Don't do that.
I don't want to trash your sponsor.
Wow. You know the twins, right?
Have you looked at their stock? How their stock's been getting killed?
Oh my.
Yeah, look, all these companies, all these crypto-related companies that came out with a bunch of hype, they're getting killed. I mean, even
you're talking about tokenization, and you let them grow.
But look at. I mean,
MicroStrategy.
MicroStrategy is the poster boy for crypto companies. They're about to make a new low again today, a new 52-week low. Stock's down 6.5% as we speak.
You think Michael Saylor doesn't know what he's doing?
I think he's a con man. I mean, I've challenged him to do a debate. I think his whole company is a fraud. I mean, do I think he knows that his company is a fraud? I don't know. I mean, I've compared him to like Captain Ahab. Like he's like, you got to get off his ship or you're going down with it. I mean, but he's obsessed with Bitcoin.
Because
and he's going to keep
strongly in gold that you can't put your head around the fact that this man, Michael Saylor, believes that much in Bitcoin. You can't wrap
it's possible that he's off his rocker, right? He's obsessed.
So people can say that about you, about gold.
No, the stuff he says is so irrational. See, so many people sit back and listen to him spew this nonsense. And since he makes it sound like sophisticated, they buy into it. It is a crock. Everything he is saying is complete, unadulterated BS. Yet he gets away with it. I guess the way he talks about it, so confidently. And he is a smart guy. I mean, he's probably got a higher IQ than I do. So he's probably a more intelligent person than me. And so he makes all this garbage, sound good because he's smart and he delivers it. But if you actually listen to what he's saying and just take it apart, it is pure BS. Right
So
after this company goes bankrupt, everyone's going to know it.
What's about Larry Fink?
Huh? Yeah, I look
Because
again. He's just
they're on
trying
the
to
same
make
page.
money. He's just trying, just like what's his name at um the Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. Yeah, all these guys.
Oh
They're
my
just
God.
talking. They are just saying this. Now, look, it's possible. There's a saying in the brokerage industry about believing your own bullshit. I mean, sometimes you bullshit so much that you believe it yourself. Now, you can accuse me of that, right? But I don't think that's the case. But I certainly think that's the case with a lot of people caught up in crypto.
All right. Peter, after this conversation, and I would love to get you back on in a month or two. Actually, my podcast is really what I would love to get you on.
Yeah, Bitcoin could be a lot lower another month from now.
We'll see. How about we put a bet on that?
Everybody wants to bet me on Bitcoin.
Okay, fine.
Like, I
I'm
think
not
it's
gonna
going down.
one thing I wanted to do when you came onto this show is because I take my show a little bit more seriously, with all due respect. I didn't
I
want to get
take
into
my
a
show
match.
seriously.
Say that again.
The Peter Schiff show, I take it seriously.
Not you. I'm talking about like other shows. They want to like fight you and put you in a headlock. I don't want to do any of that shit. Like I wanted you to come on here so I can have a conversation to understand why you think this way, and like how can I get you to buy? I'm in gold. How can I get you to buy just a half a Bitcoin? Like half a Bitcoin.
What do I need it for?
Why? You'll definitely need it. You'll thank me.
Why?
You'll
For what?
thank me.
I've gotten. I'm 62 years old. Well, actually, at one point I owned a third of a Bitcoin, but I lost it. But and I didn't buy it. I was given some Bitcoin, so I had it for a while, and then I lost it. But other than that, I mean, I've gotten by without ever buying any Bitcoin.
I'm not saying you're not wealthy. I'm sure you're.
No, but
you're
how
very
about
good.
wealth? What do I need it for? I've never been at a point in my life where it was like, crap, I need some Bitcoin. God, I don't have, it's like, what
honestly, I think you're wrong. I think you're not. The world's going digital. Like you can fight all you want. It's like the same people who fought email. And
no, I didn't fight email. I embraced email. I used email. I hate
didn't say
snail
you did.
mail.
I'm hypothetically speaking. They're like people fought these things. They're like, oh, this is never going to work. And you're fighting a digital revolution.
We are going digital. But does that mean, are you going to eat digital food, or are you going to keep eating real food?
Yeah, but forget about the food. I can have digitalized gold.
No, you can't. You can have no more than you can have digital food. You can't eat digital food.
No, but
I can't make jewelry.
Gold?
Wait,
I mean,
I can't make
tokenize it.
jewelry. I can't make jewelry. I can't conduct electricity with digital gold. Now, what you can do with gold digitally is represent ownership. So back in the day when we used gold, people would hold their gold with a bank, or even before that with a blacksmith. And the blacksmith would issue them an IOU that represented a receipt for the gold that he was storing. Now, you could then take that receipt and you can give it to somebody else. Instead of running back to the blacksmith and getting your gold, you could say, hey, I owe you $50 of gold. Hey, I've got IOU from the blacksmith. Why don't you take this? And if they knew the reputable blacksmith and they trusted him and they recognized his note, and I could transfer the ownership of my gold using, with a note. You could do the same thing digitally. That's what I want to do with T-Gold, among other things. But people open up an account at T-Gold now and they buy some gold. And if I allow them to withdraw it in the form of a token, that token isn't gold. That token represents ownership of the gold that's sitting there in a vault. If somebody actually needs the gold to make some jewelry, they can go take the token back to and get the gold, right? So it represents ownership. So in a way, that's digital gold in that you can convert it to real gold. But when you own Bitcoin, you can't convert it into anything. It's nothing. It's an IOU nothing. There's nothing behind it other than the confidence or the hope.
I said this earlier. You can say the same thing about gold. Like no,
you can't.
I don't believe. Like if we look at Fort Knox,
believe what? You don't believe that gold exists?
Missing it.
Huh?
We're probably missing half the stash.
Gold is not about belief. Gold is. It's a tangible metal.
But if it's not in the vault, then you have to believe it's not there, kind of thing, right?
Oh, no. You're talking about Well, you're talking about trusting the third party that they have
There
your
you
gold.
go. This is where
Well,
we're going, Peter. You get rid of
yes,
the middleman. There is no
yeah.
middleman in
There's
Bitcoin. You get that, right?
Well, there's a middleman if you choose to put your token, into an ETF or
Yes, if you choose
onto a
to go that
platform
route.
like,
What if
like,
you get physical Bitcoin? It's
uh,
a different story,
well,
right?
it's not physical because it
You
can't be physical.
understand? If
But
I personally buy Bitcoin, it's not my keys, not my crypto kind of thing. I get to
yeah,
keep my Bitcoin, right?
yeah,
I
yes,
don't buy ETFs like in terms
right,
of the Bitcoin
right,
ETFs. With
right.
no
And if you're
disrespect, that's for the retail people that don't want to open up a wallet and use seed phrases. God bless them. I
Yeah,
acquire my
those
own Bitcoin.
you're right. They're just speculating on the price of Bitcoin. At least the people who self-custody, who don't go through ETFs and don't put their crypto on an exchange, they believe in the whole concept of what Bitcoin is supposed to
But
be.
Peter, do you
And
know why I believe in Bitcoin or no?
well, I mean, you could tell me I have pretty good idea, but
Maybe at first it was for gains, but I didn't need Bitcoin to retire. So I'll put it that way, right? So it's about it's the value of money. Like it's the centralized world has fucked every single person in it, except the elites. The elites are having a great time. They
well,
pass
the
down their
people
wealth from generation to generation. Like money is dog shit now, man. Like,
no,
it is
well,
dog
you're not
shit.
talking about money. You're talking about fiat currencies, and
Bitcoin
I
is money,
agree.
though.
But no, they're not money. They're substitutes for money.
It's as
Money
much as
No, money by definition is the most marketable commodity. So you have to start with a commodity, whether it's seashells, right, or cigarettes or gold, right? Money has got to be a liquid marketable commodity. What paper money always was a substitute for money. It
is
was called
electricity
currency.
important? Is electricity important?
Yeah, of course it's important, but
Okay.
it's not
They,
money.
they added it right into Bitcoin.
No, no. You need electricity to make Bitcoin, but I mean, create one to solve. But once it's created, the electricity is gone. You've got nothing left to show for it but a worthless string of numbers.
No.
Bitcoin isn't a battery that you could like plug it in and electricity comes out. Gold has real value stored in the gold. I can take that gold and I can conduct electricity with it. I can't conduct any electricity with Bitcoin. So the thing that makes it money is its value that it has apart from being a medium of exchange and a unit of account. But Bitcoin doesn't even function as a medium of exchange or a unit of account because it's slow and expensive to even try to use it for those
You're
purposes.
talking about
It
slow
only gets
like
used
gold.
for
Like if I needed to pay you in gold, I'm gonna. Do you know how many days
no.
that would take?
It would be instantaneous if you used a tokenized gold,
Oh,
and the gold
then
just
why
sits
why
there
am I going to use a tokenized gold when I have Bitcoin?
because
I can just
Bitcoin is
send you a
nothing.
payment.
Look, when I understand the fact that when you own your own Bitcoin in your own wallet, or you have your secret phrase memorized in your head, right? And so it's just all you. Yes, there are no third parties that are holding it, right? I got no reason to have a problem with third parties. That's how capitalism works. We trust third parties all the time. There would be no insurance industry if we couldn't
You
trust
can't
third
trust them.
parties.
You said they
But
shut down your bank accounts. How can you
but
trust them?
well, look, I mean, yeah, well, I have found another bank, right? So, it's competition. But
But then what if this
the
bank does the
point the
same
point
shit,
I'm making
Peter?
is what you are trusting when you put your trust in Bitcoin. You're trusting that the people who
I'm
currently
trusting math. I'm
no,
trusting
you're not
math.
trusting math.
Wh-
What you're trusting is that the people who currently believe in Bitcoin will keep believing in it, that people who think nothing is something will continue to think nothing is something, and more importantly, that more people will join the cult and believe that nothing is something. You have to put your faith in the growth of this cult that more and more people will feel like you and decide that they want your Bitcoin. I don't want to take that leap of faith. I'd rather trust a third party to hold something than to trust that a group of people believe in nothing. That to me, that's a bigger leap of faith, the one you're making.
I will say this on this. I believe you should get one Bitcoin
Well, you want to
And
give me a Bitcoin? Go ahead. I ain't buying it with my money, but if you want to give me
why
one of
not?
yours, I'll take it.
Why not?
Why would I want to
Why you
waste?
asking me to give you free Bitcoin? See, there you go. You
No,
understand
no.
the value.
I didn't ask you for it. I said if you want to give it to me,
If
but
I
I
gave
ain't
it
gonna
to
buy
you,
it.
you would sell it and get money
Well,
from it, right?
why would I hold it? But you know what? If you want to put it in my strategic reserve, I promised to never sell any of that. It's just going to go to zero like everybody else's. But no, like if
Why
you
would
want to
you
give
want it
me,
to go to zero? You've
I
made
tell
a
you what.
career out of Bitcoin.
No,
Why would
if you want to,
need Bitcoin?
if you give me a Bitcoin and you tell me to hold it,
Okay.
I'll honor your wishes with the Bitcoin that you gave me,
Yeah, but
and
there has to be
I'll let
some
that Bitcoin
stipulation
go to
with it.
zero. What?
Because if it goes, let's say it goes to 200K, right? We
Well,
need
then
to
what do
figure
I do
out
with
the
it? You
right
told me not to
formula.
sell it. Well, what do I do with it at 200K? You told me not to sell it. You want me to? I can give it back to you.
I think you should use Bitcoin. Like for me
Use it for
personally,
what? What?
transactions.
But
For me,
nobody
it's
who uses it for
transactions.
transactions
Why not transact with it?
because
Fast and
it's
simple.
expensive and slow. Nobody does it. You don't do it. All right, let me
Well,
ask you a question. You're a big
look.
Bitcoiner. Look, you're a big Bitcoiner, right?
I'm a Bitcoiner. I collect.
All
I
right.
also believe in
Okay.
other digital assets.
All right. But when you do your grocery shopping, do you use Bitcoin or
No, I don't use Bitcoin.
how do you pay your rent?
Listen, we're
Do you
still.
have
I'm not
how do
paying
you
it
earn
in
your
gold
income?
either, right?
Wait,
I'm
how do
paying
you
it
earn
in
your income?
fiat.
But how do you earn your income?
Me?
Yeah.
By doing this show.
No, but how do you get paid? What do you got?
I
Advertisers?
get paid in fiat.
All right, see, why don't you take Bitcoin? Why you getting fiat for?
Because some people just want to pay you in fiat,
Well,
and some people pay you in
well,
Bitcoin.
who is anyone paying you in Bitcoin?
Some people do.
Well, make sure everybody does. I mean, get
Nobody
yourself
pays
on
me
the
in gold.
Bob, look, I would love to get paid in gold.
I know
But
you
the
would.
thing is,
But
but
who's going to pay
and
you in
that's why
gold?
I'm
That's
doing
why you have
T-Gold.
BitPay. Peter, that's why you have BitPay on your site because nobody's paying you in gold.
No, I
And
have BitPay so people can get rid of their Bitcoin and buy gold. Go to Shift Gold. If any of your viewers have Bitcoin, I make it easy to get rid of it. Go to Shift Gold and we can help you turn your fool's gold into actual gold.
Peter, I got to tell you, and I know this. I don't care what anybody says. Peter is a smart individual. He is funny and he's smart, and you know exactly what you're doing. So
No, I
gotta
do. No,
give
no, no. Don't say I've got some kind of ulterior motive. You know, there are people
no.
out there that think Peter's got to own Bitcoin. He's just saying this as part of his master plan to get us to sell his Bitcoin so I can buy more cheap. Look, it's all ridiculous. There is no master plan. There is no, like, I'm not Satoshi, you know, whatever people think. Because you know what happens? The people who believe in Bitcoin, who think I'm a smart guy, who believe in a lot of the same things that I believe in when it comes to the government and economics and, you know, sound money. Yet I don't believe in Bitcoin, and they do. And that is a difficult thing for them to deal with in their head. Because if I'm this smart guy who they agree with on everything except Bitcoin, and if I'm right on Bitcoin, then their whole world is upside down because they've got their whole life based on Bitcoin. They've got all their wealth in Bitcoin. They work in crypto, whatever. And so rather than trying to deal with, hey, here's this Peter Schiff, why doesn't he like Bitcoin? I mean, what the hell? It's got to be, you know what? He must actually like it. He can't not like it. So this must be an act. He must be saying that because there's no way for a smart person like Peter not to get Bitcoin. But yes, the reason I don't get Bitcoin is because there's nothing to get. In fact, I'm the one that gets it. And all the other people who think they got it have got it wrong, right? You know, and every once in a while, you know, you see like a Paul Krugman. You know, Krugman rarely gets anything right, but he's right on Bitcoin. You know, there are a few people that, you know, when they get, that's one of the only things they get right. But there are a lot of other smart people who think the way I do about economics and money and investing who also don't like Bitcoin, right? But when people in Bitcoin, they can't deal with anybody not liking it. Like Michael Saylor says, anybody who doesn't like Bitcoin is because they haven't studied it. As long as they invest 100 hours and they study it, well, then they're going to like it. No, they're not going to like it. In fact, if they really study it, they'll like it less. The way to like Bitcoin is not to study it at all. to just blindly buy it because somebody is hyping it up. Because once you look behind the curtain, you see, what it is.
I think Michael Saylor is going to be proven right on his thesis and his madness, as some would say. And I think we'll be on here, and hopefully you come back onto the show, and we'll be talking about Bitcoin at 250K, and hopefully gold higher as well.
Tell your buddy Michael Saylor that I'd like to bait him on, not on Bitcoin anymore, on just MicroStrategy, on the fact that I think the company is a fraud. I think it's going to collapse. So I like to debate it.
I think Michael Saylor's strategy company is going to do phenomenal.
Well, right.
I
That's
think
a great topic for a debate.
Even if they take it off the MSCI, even if that happens,
they should kick it out. It has no business being in there. It's not a
even if it happens, it wouldn't affect strategy at all.
Wow, who the hell knows? But it shouldn't be in there. Index funds shouldn't be forced to buy it. It's not a real business. It's a leveraged ETF, this masquerading as a company. So it's not. I think it doesn't have real earnings.
I think it's a real business, and I think Michael Saylor is going to. There are a lot of companies that are following Michael Saylor's lead.
They're in the business of buying Bitcoin. What the hell kind of business is that? Anybody can buy Bitcoin. What do I need MicroStrategy for?
Well, you know what? It's not a bad thing to have Bitcoin in your treasury. That's all I can say.
What you just said, from your own perspective, you want to own your own Bitcoin. You want to. It's not your Bitcoin, not your keys, not your Bitcoin. So why the hell would you want to buy MicroStrategy and trust them with your Bitcoin?
Again, you're buying MicroStrategies for totally different reasons. If people are buying MicroStrategy stock, if they're buying it because they're Bitcoiners, that's great. He's attracting more people
to do what?
Into the traditional market, and especially into his company.
What are they sending him money to do?
Why do we invest into Tesla?
Because Tesla makes cars and maybe robots and
they make energy, and energy is money, and that's what Bitcoin.
You need energy to make stuff. You don't. But Bitcoin doesn't have any energy. It uses you waste energy to make it. Look, if you want to buy Bitcoin, go ahead and buy Bitcoin. Don't buy MicroStrategy stock. That's a dumb way to buy Bitcoin. If you really want Bitcoin, just buy Bitcoin. Keep it yourself. Strategy.
You can do whatever you.
I think
at the end of the day, people can do whatever they want, man. I'll buy MicroStrategy.
Why? Do you own any MicroStrategy?
Okay? And it's not. Do you own Bitcoin? But that could attract people into buying MicroStrategy.
Do you own MicroStrategy stock? Sure.
Say that again.
Right,
I don't.
That's good. Don't buy it.
I'm being very transparent. I don't. But you know what? After this, I might buy it.
That would be a bad thing to do. But if you're going to buy it, at least
why? Because why
it's
not?
going a lot lower.
Listen, you know what it is, Peter. I'm just focused on Bitcoin, right? I'm focused on buying as much Bitcoin.
Don't buy MicroStrategy. I mean, given a choice between
I got to
set
up this one-on-one showdown, man. I got to set up this showdown between you and
If you put a gun to my head and said, "Do you want to buy Bitcoin or MicroStrategy?" I'd buy Bitcoin, right? Now, someone's going to say, "Oh, see, Peter Schiff said he."
Someone's going
to say, "Oh, Peter Schiff just said he'd buy Bitcoin." Yeah, they'll leave out the part where I said you had to have a gun to my head. They always like to take me out of context, these Bitcoiners.
Listen, I will get you by 2026 to
that's
change
just in
your
a couple
mind.
Months.
Or at least,
not even.
Yeah, and I will get you to buy Bitcoin. I will get you to buy half a Bitcoin.
If you give me the money and tell me to buy it, I guess I'll do it. But are you going to the Bitcoin conference in Dubai? Well, I was.
Yes. Maybe. I don't know. Actually, maybe. I got to find out if I'm going. Why? You want to debate me in person also?
I'm debating I'm doing a CZ. You don't know about that?
Oh, you do
CZ and I are going to do a kind of informal debate conversation, Bitcoin versus tokenized gold. So
I think that's going to be actually a good conversation. You and CZ.
Go to their website. It's the number one thing that they're promoting is me and CZ. But so I'm going to be.
See, look what Bitcoin's done for you, Peter. Look what Bitcoin's done for you. It's put you on stages.
No. I was on
the most important conference in the world. You are at. Do you understand, Peter? Hold on. You're laughing, but you know this is the truth. Every single major crypto conference, you are headlining. Bitcoin has done so much for your career. You don't even.
I was a New York Times best-selling author before anybody knew what Bitcoin was.
I know that.
I
know
had a
that.
career before Bitcoin. Bitcoin has been an annoyance to
I
me.
know.
I gotta spend so much time.
No,
I
it's
gotta
not.
waste my time debunking Bitcoin. Believe me, when this
No,
Bitcoin
you are annoyed that we are. It's kind
no.
of like I think this you missed
Yeah,
it,
I missed it.
and like that bothered you because I think you're meticulous and you missed it. You're like, fuck, I could have had it. I could have had like 10,000 of
Yeah, you
these
know what?
things with the pocket
I
change that I
missed the
carry.
opportunity to buy Bitcoin. You're missing the opportunity to sell it. That's going to be the same thing. See, I regret
You
that I
said
didn't
the
buy it,
same
and you're going to
thing
regret that
7
you
years
didn't sell it.
ago. If I would have listened to you 7 years ago or 8, 9, 10, I would have been crying in a
Well, if you don't
corner.
listen to me now, you'll be crying in the same corner anyway. What's the difference? But you know what?
I
Misery
guarantee you
loves
next
company.
time
You're going to
me
have a
and you
lot of
talk.
people crowding into that corner. All these Bitcoiners.
Oh
The
my
only good
god.
thing about all the Bitcoiners that are going to lose all their money is that most of them are young, right? So they can learn from their mistakes and they have plenty of time to make it back. I feel bad for the older people who got conned into this and put their retirement money into it. That's really unfortunate. I'm trying my best
I
to
feel
warn
bad for
people,
people
you know.
buying I feel bad for people buying
Why?
gold
Gold's at a
at
record high.
Costco,
Gold's
but
gone, gold's doing fine.
I'm messing with you. I'm trolling you. E- Me personally, I like gold. I will never say anything bad about gold. I might fling things here and there, but that's just the troll. But I like gold. I think you should have precious metals. You should diversify. There's nothing wrong with that. As like you should buy land. It always appreciates. And I think you should definitely 100% have Bitcoin. I advocate it. It's the only thing that I'll say buy. When I go and tweet something, buy Bitcoin.
When you
Absolutely
tell people to
100%.
buy,
Same way I would say
let me
buy
just
gold.
curiosity. Your typical person, right? What percent of their investable portfolio would you suggest that they put into Bitcoin?
I'm not a financial advisor. So I don't even have to
Well, I'm
fucking
not
say that
talking
because I'm
about
not a
as a
financial
just
advisor.
like in your judgment, not as a professional financial advisor.
I think I think you should at least have a half a Bitcoin.
Regardless of what your net worth is, you should have a half a Bitcoin.
I I speak when I say that I speak to retail buyers, right? So like for retail, like real retail, I think the ultimate goal is to get a half or a full Bitcoin, and
Yeah.
I stand
Well,
on that.
that's well,
I
obviously.
hope
Well, look,
that
if you're Warren Buffett, yeah, you can roll the dice on a Bitcoin. What the hell? But
yeah.
somebody might only have 100,000, or Bitcoin's not 100,000 anymore. But someone might only have $85,000 net worth. I mean, you wouldn't want them to put it all in Bitcoin, would you?
Like, you don't want everybody to put
I
everything
don't
into gold
exactly.
either, right?
That's why I asked you to get an idea.
I would tell them to allocate 1 to 5%
All right. Okay.
into
All
Bitcoin.
right. Fine. All right. I'm okay. Look, I think it's a bad bet. I think people are going to lose their money. But if you want to have 1%, even 5% in a highly speculative token and take your chances, I'm not going to say you can't do that. Right. But a lot of people have much more than that. They've been encouraged. Michael Saylor tells people to go out and mortgage their homes to buy Bitcoin, go into debt, mortgage your business.
But would they
This
be
stuff
up?
is reckless.
But at
And
the point in time that Michael Saylor said that, would they be up or down
well,
on
you know what?
that?
He said it at the Bitcoin conference I was at in May. His main speech was telling people to borrow against their business and mortgage their house. And Bitcoin was about 105,000, and now it's 20% lower. So you're not looking so good if you took his advice up there. But look, regardless of the outcome, even if it went up, you don't tell people to bet the farm and take a mortgage on something that is speculative and is volatile as Bitcoin, and that's what
Gold
he's
can do the
doing.
same thing. Gold can go ahead
I'm
and do
not
the
telling
same.
people to
Look, I
mortgage
think
anything to buy gold. And I myself said,
I'm
yeah,
not either.
I'm not,
I don't
yeah.
know why Michael Saylor's in the court. Listen, I think Michael Saylor is absolutely number one. I think he's right. I think he's going to be right. That's number one. Number two, he's insanely passionate about Bitcoin. He
Well,
believes
he
in
has
Bitcoin as much as you believe in
yeah. I
gold.
mean, he has but you don't know. Look,
I don't think
do you,
I
is
honestly,
a
I'm gonna
look,
tell you right
is
now,
it
Peter.
are
I've seen people try to sell gold. I've
are
seen
all
people.
used car salesmen extremely passionate about used cars, or are they just trying to
I'm pretty
they
sure
just
they
trying to
are.
get a lemon off the lot? Look, the situation you said you want
Hold
to
on,
have.
but hold on. Let's be fair. He is insanely passionate
Yeah.
about Bitcoin.
Focus
Insanely
on the
passionate.
insane part.
The same way you're passionate about gold.
Insane more than passion, but the combination is very dangerous, I think. But you mentioned you want to have a whole Bitcoin. Well, I mean, what if I just have a couple of 100,000 Satoshis? Isn't that enough? I mean,
That's fine.
how much is
That's
that
fine.
worth? $5, $10?
That's fine.
It's like, I don't know. How much?
I need you to buy. You know what I need you to do on this show? I need you to buy $10 of Bitcoin.
Yeah, because that's my point that I'm making is that there's so many Satoshis out there. There's plenty to go around. Everybody on the planet can have a few 100,000 Satoshis, right? Because Bitcoin is just an artificial construct. It's a random, bundle of Satoshis.
Oh my!
But they like to talk about Bitcoin instead of Satoshis because they like to pretend that they're
real
scarce.
Bitcoiners
They're
talk
not
about
scarce. There's
Satoshis.
so many of them.
No, Peter. The real Bitcoiners, and especially the Bitcoin maxi, the Hornets, they talk about Satoshis all the time. That is their goal.
All right,
Satoshi
just
talk.
stacking sats. I know, but
You're listening to the Windows shoppers around here who talk about Bitcoin and Bitcoin and Bitcoin. The real ones are talking about Satoshis.
Right, and Satoshis aren't scarce because there's 2.1 quadrillion of them.
But oh my God, you Peter, you're smart. Come on.
Yeah, I am smart. Don't tell me that you can trade gold in a little
planet
specs.
Earth to have Satoshis.
Yeah. There's not a shortage of Satoshis. There's plenty of them.
And there's not a shortage of gold.
Yeah, there is. There's not that much gold.
You might have gold in your backyard.
I doubt
it.
Start digging. Well, only the gold I put there.
There we go.
Yes. Is it true that if I had the technology, I could take an ounce of gold and break it up into tiny little microscopic particles? Yes, but they wouldn't do me any good. You need to have a certain quantity of gold to make a certain quantity of jewelry. You don't need a certain quantity of Bitcoin to do anything, or Satoshis, because you can't do anything with your Satoshis no matter how many you have. So I can't do any more with 1 million than I can with 10,000, right? All I could do is give them to somebody else, assuming they want them. Or they
Peter Schiff. Yeah. Peter Schiff, man. Oh boy, Peter. Peter.
I'm educating you
know
here.
What? I love you, man, but you're gonna be so wrong on this.
Aren't you gonna at least sell some of your Bitcoin after talking to me here?
No.
You didn't learn anything from this whole conversation?
I can't believe that I can't believe you're not on Gemini right now using my link to buy Bitcoin. I can't believe you did not go into Gemini right now to buy Bitcoin.
See, that's the problem. People, I mean, the opinions are so, entrenched in stone that they can't be changed. And you could accuse me of the same thing. I think I'm being logical. You're being emotional, right? but
I'm not honestly, my BPM is at 61. So I'm not really I'm just loud because I'm a New Yorker. That's it. You gotta get used to this shit. I'm just a loud guy. And I'm passionate. I'm never angry, by the way. Never angry, Peter. When I see you post, let me tell you something. When you're posting on social media, I follow you. I have your notifications on. When you post shit, I comment. I always reply. I'm like, you're losing your mind. That's what I say. I'll never say a bad thing about you because everybody's entitled to their own fucking opinion.
I appreciate that because there's some people in the Bitcoin community recently who shall be nameless who just say very harsh things about me. I'm this horrible, evil man. That I'm disgusting and I'm slimy or whatever the hell I say. And they act like, when Bitcoin is going down, I'm happy that people are losing money, which to me, if you're a true Bitcoiner, you don't even think you're losing money because your Bitcoin is the same. If you're measuring your wealth in sats, who cares what the exchange rate to the dollar is, or what does it make a difference? But I'm never happy about people losing money. I don't believe. I want to stop
Peter,
people from losing money.
Let me speak on behalf of some real Bitcoiners. Huh? Number one, when last cycle, when Mark Cuban tried to learn about Bitcoin and others, and people were dogging them, like that's not the education that you want to provide to people. Like if you disagree with the value of Bitcoin, you don't like it, that's fine. Like all I'm saying is I'm in Bitcoin. These are the reasons why I'm in Bitcoin. Okay. And that's it.
Yeah. And I have the same thing. I tell people the reasons I'm not in Bitcoin. And so some people try to convince people to buy Bitcoin.
But
I
those
try to
people don't
convince them
represent
not to.
But the people that run their mouths about you and try to degrade you or your family or stuff like that, they don't represent the real Bitcoiners. That's
Yeah,
all I
I know
want to say.
that because I've spoken when I was at David Bailey's conference in May. I didn't hear an unkind word. I got overwhelmed by people who really liked me, who were happy to pose for photographs with me and get my autograph. And the most common thing that I heard from the attendees was that I was the reason they owned Bitcoin, and that if it wasn't for me, they probably never would have bought it.
Listen,
And it's not
but
because
that's the thing that you're doing. You're actually helping Bitcoin because,
no,
for me
it's not.
personally, if somebody's so negative about an asset, I'm going to go look into it.
It's not because they viewed me as a contrarian indicator. They didn't buy Bitcoin because I told people not to buy it. What happened was people learned about Austrian economics, about sound money, about the Fed. They learned all this stuff from me, right? They read my books, they read my articles, they listened to my podcasts. And after I put them on this road, they ended up going on a tangent from that road and found Bitcoin. I didn't push them in that direction, but I put them on the road that ultimately led them to Bitcoin. But they say if it wasn't for me, they never would have got on that road in the first place. So that's why they credit me for owning Bitcoin. And I say, look, don't hold me responsible when you end up losing money. But some of those people who, were educated by me 10, 15 years ago got into Bitcoin really, really low. They did extremely well. And they credit me. They thank me for that.
I wouldn't doubt that because I've spoken to people and they're like, even though Peter has lost his mind about Bitcoin, he's not a bad guy at all. He's a good guy. And he's stuck in his ways. Some say that you're coping, and it's okay. I'm here for all the cope. I'm here as your therapist.
I'm not
I'm letting
salty
you let it
about
out.
it. They say, oh, he's so salty. It's like,
No,
I get a kick when they tell me to have fun staying poor.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Just get one Bitcoin.
I know, but most of the people telling me to have fun staying poor, have a lot less than I do. Now, of course, I'm older than they are, so I would expect it. But I'm never going to be poor, even though I don't have any Bitcoin.
All that bullshit messaging of have fun staying poor and stuff like that. If it's a troll, great, but that's not the messaging that I'm accustomed to. And the real Bitcoiners out there, they're not really saying it. Whether I know your stance on Bitcoin, but at the end of the day, I do believe that Bitcoin is sound money, and we can agree to disagree, but it has changed a lot of people's lives. It's given people a lot of opportunity here in the United States of America. The centralized world here is disgusting. It doesn't give people an opportunity at all.
Yeah,
so
I agree
good has come out of that.
Some people that got into Bitcoin early, it's changed their lives. I mean, it's made them very wealthy. I know a lot of those people. A lot of those people are my neighbors here in Puerto Rico. So I know a lot of people that are very wealthy or a lot wealthier because they got into Bitcoin. But unfortunately, the flip side of that is going to be that a lot of people's lives are changed for the worse. A lot of people are going to lose. And in fact, a lot more people are going to lose money in Bitcoin than who made it. I think the gains are concentrated in a smaller group of people who got in a long time ago. The losses are going to be spread about, along a much broader group of people who got in.
I think you're
later
wrong about
and who lost a lot of money that they couldn't afford to lose because, unlike you, they didn't put in 1 or 2 or 4 or 5% of their net worth. And there are a lot of people that are going to get completely wiped out in Bitcoin because they leveraged it. There are people who have borrowed against their Bitcoin, and they're going to end up losing all of their Bitcoin, and they're going to owe money on top of that for back taxes or whatever. So there are going to be people that are going to go broke because they bought into this Ponzi. So that's you can't look at just the people who made out and ignore all the people who are going to lose that made that possible, right? Because the people who made money in Bitcoin, they didn't make money because they created real value. They made money because somebody bought their Bitcoin. So they made the money that somebody else is going to lose. They didn't create something that they didn't invent something that made our
Peter, we
lives
can say
better.
that
They
about
didn't
any
produce
asset in the
something.
world, man. We
Huh?
can say that about any asset.
No,
Any
I'm not talking
asset
about.
on this
No,
planet.
if you're a businessman, right? Like if you say, "Oh, Steve Jobs, came up with Apple, and we all have these iPhones and stuff," right? Our lives are better because we have iPhones, and so he got rich,
So
supplying
he's
us with
trying to say our
iPhones. I
lives are
mean,
better because we got gold chains?
excuse me?
Are you trying to
Yeah,
say
well,
that our lives are better because we got gold chains?
our lives are better when we have sound money, which is gold. And yes,
Which
our
is
lives are better.
Bitcoin.
We don't have cell phones without gold. What do you think makes them work, right? I mean, it's
Okay,
a
and then you're
metal
gonna
that's
talk
different.
about rockets into
And
space,
look,
right? Are you gonna hit me with that
look,
also?
and look, people love jewelry, men like it, women
My dad's a
especially like
jeweler.
it.
Or was it? Excuse me. God
People,
rest his
look,
soul.
if jewelry didn't make people happy, they wouldn't buy it, right? If people's lives weren't made better by jewelry, then nobody would buy it. I mean, no one's putting a gun to someone's head and saying, buy yourself a watch or a gold bracelet or a gold ring. People are voluntarily buying these products because they are happier when they have them. They enjoy them. So, so
You're happy sleeping with your gold on your bed. We're happy sleeping without
no,
Bitcoin in
you're
our
happy.
wallet.
You're happy sleeping with the women who you gave some gold to, and now they're in your bed, right? Because if you weren't
Here
giving them
we
gold, they
go.
might be with somebody else who
The real
was more
Peter
generous.
Schiff, ladies and gentlemen. He's not only about anti-Bitcoin. No. He can give advice on women. There you go.
Well,
There we go. Give you another round of applause there.
but we don't.
It
We can't all depend on our good looks.
oh Schiff. I appreciate, number one, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much. Hopefully this is not your last time coming on. And
No,
we can go ahead and maybe two and have a
I'll
conversation.
come on.
I
See if
hope
you
to have
can,
you on
see if
the
you can get
podcast.
your buddy. See if you can get your buddy Michael Saylor to come on with me. We
If I
can
get
have a
Michael
fair
Saylor,
debate,
hold
and you
on.
can
If I get
moderate.
Michael Saylor on, you want to come on and do a one-on-one?
Well, of course.
Okay, I'll get Michael Saylor on. You guys can go one-on-one. I'm a good moderator. I won't let it get crazy, and you guys can go ahead and
I
talk.
even trust to have a biased moderator.
No, I'm actually really good at moderating. I'm not. I won't bring my bodies into the conversation. I will make sure you guys go one-on-one. You have fair 3 minutes each. Ready, set, go, and we can touch on Bitcoin and gold and all that good stuff. But I do
All right,
appreciate
well, if
you.
you can pull this off,
I
that will be a
can.
real feather in
I
your
got
cap,
you
because
on.
everybody else
I
that's tried
finally
is
got you on after years. I'm like, Peter, I'm over here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you a good conversation. I'm not a bad guy. I got a really good podcast.
You're not a bad guy. I didn't say you're a bad guy.
Well,
Yeah, and
now
you even,
that
and
now
look,
you know
and
me,
you
now,
even, and
and I'm
next
sure
time
you'll
you
remember
got to
the last
remind me.
name.
Next time I'm on your podcast, I got to dress for the occasion. I got to put on a tie and a jacket. Normally, the
Listen,
Bitcoins
man.
they're in t-shirts. I'm overdressed like this. They're usually in a hoodie or something. They don't.
I'm also not accepted by a lot of the crowd because I wear a tie and a
Yeah.
suit and stuff. But hey, I feel like this is me,
Yeah.
man. I can't I can't be dressed down. I got to be presentable. That's right. I got to be presentable. As the next president of the United States of America, I got to make sure that I'm presentable, Peter Schiff.
You could
But
also,
I
you
appreciate you
could
coming
do
on.
some, Mulgani impersonations in New York too. They're probably like, you got
Oh
a
my
stand-up
God.
routine, and
I've been around before this guy. Who is this guy? I'm gonna have to bring him on the podcast and we're gonna just talk about that and his socialistic, with the free buses and all this crap that'll never ever work. Never. People vote for people that say free. You want to win an election? Just say free.
of course.
And then when they win, ain't nothing's free. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Me and Peter are starting a show called Politics
Yeah,
Only.
look at my pinned
Peter.
post on X. It's all, people don't want freedom anymore. They just want free stuff. That's the problem. They don't know how expensive free stuff is.
That's the biggest dilemma that we're facing. And then we have to pay more taxes. Not like we don't pay enough taxes, but we got to pay more taxes in order to enable these free things, free buses, government owned.
Nothing costs more.
grocery
Nothing's more
stores.
expensive than free stuff from the government, right? That's it.
Horrible. And like, you know what? My parents are from Eastern Europe. Trust me, there is nothing free. Nothing. This fairy tale world that people live in, nothing is free. Zero. You're not all going to make the same money. That is the worst system that you can ever want to be a part of. Communism and
Yep.
socialism. Just go look at the countries that
Well,
apply that.
actually, just
But
so people know, and communism is a form of socialism. So socialism is a
yeah,
broad
absolutely.
category, and within that category,
Socialism is the
there's
start,
communism
is the
and
beginning of
fascism,
communism.
right? People don't realize this,
100%.
but fascism
Yeah.
is a subset of socialism. So all
Yeah.
communists and all fascists are socialists, but not all communists are fascists, not all fascists are communists, but they all are under the umbrella of socialist. And in fact, a lot
Yeah.
of people on the left side of the modern spectrum, when they accuse people on the right of being fascist, in most cases, they're very fascist themselves. They don't recognize it because they don't even understand what it is. But if you go back, fascism, the rise of fascism was Mussolini in Italy, and then, then the Nazis and Hitler in Germany. But fascism, the Nazi party was the Socialist Workers' Party of Germany, National Socialism Party, National Socialist Party, Workers' Party. So it's National Socialism, and fascism is that. It's a subset of socialism. And the reason that the fascists and the communists fought so hard wasn't that they were complete opposites. It's that they were so similar. They were basically rival gangs fighting over the same territory. Like, which form of socialism is better, communism or fascism, right? People think that just because, the communists and the fascists were enemies, that they were miles apart, like on opposite sides of the spectrum. No, they're right there next to each other. That's why there was such animosity.
Peter Schiff is not only about anti-Bitcoin. He is actually, let me just say Bitcoin and his whatever his takes are on Bitcoin. But he is also a former social studies teacher. No, I'm kidding. But he also knows. I like that. I like that we can talk about everything and not just Bitcoin. And I appreciate you coming on here. My show is crypto and it's also political. And I talk about these things every single day with a lot of notable people just like yourself that come on and we go ahead and touch these subjects. I can't believe you stayed more than 15 minutes because 15 minutes to 20 minutes is all that I asked for you to stay here for an hour. I really do appreciate it. And I hope to get you on my podcast. Can I get a
isn't this your
yes
podcast?
on the podcast? I have a
This isn't
podcast
it?
and I like to get
This
say
isn't
that
your
again.
podcast?
No, this is a live show
Oh.
every day, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Okay? I want to get you on the podcast where me and you one-on-one, we're talking. Maybe you convince me. Maybe you might convince me to buy more gold. Maybe I'll allocate more money towards
All right,
gold.
well, I
don't know.
got to rest my voice. I'm doing my own podcast later tonight. So,
Well, congratulations to you
All right.
and everything that you do. Buy
and
Bitcoin, okay?
have a happy Thanksgiving holiday too.
And it's my birthday today,
Oh.
so thank you for coming on.
Happy
My birthday.
I wish
Another-
I was
Thank
as
you
young
so
as you
much.
are, but all right.
I appreciate you. Have a great
Take care.
show today. Now it's Peter Schiff, and I need to take a break because, man, Peter, bro. Peter Schiff. Peter Schiff, man. Look, I said I wasn't going to bring on Peter to, well, I don't know. You guys will tell me anyway in the comments whether or not it was good or not, but yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Peter Schiff. We'll be right back after this commercial break from Gemini. If it plays. Welcome back to episode 626, The Breakdown, sponsored by Gemini. You're watching the Gemini commercial. I had to take a break because, God damn it, Peter Schiff, he was on, and man, I gotta watch that. I gotta watch my own show. Anyway, Gemini.com/David G. Go ahead and check out the lineup of credit cards that Gemini has to offer. Also, click on the link and sign up to Gemini. That's right. Sign up to Gemini, trade $1,000 in crypto, get $100 in Bitcoin. Today's my motherfucking birthday, so you better be signing up to Gemini. Earn Bitcoin, not points. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Turn on the goddamn... Hello. And we're back. All right. Go, shorty. It's my birthday. We go party hard, like, right? That's anyway. Thank you, everybody who tuned in, obviously, and thank you for our guests for coming on, Hunter and Peter, on to episode 626. We got a packed week, man. We really have a packed week. I told you this yesterday that I was going to have, a really great show here lined up today on my birthday. But we have a packed schedule for weeks with, people that I personally want to talk to. Like, I'm not looking to bring on people that you want to see me talk to, like people that I can have a conversation with. And that's it. This is the fifth week. This is the fifth week of the DG brand being restructured and rebranded, and me working my ass off, and people in the back working their ass off to make this motherfucking thing happen. So I definitely appreciate it. By the way, my monitor's out, so I'm just staring at the camera. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about in the chats. But shout out to everybody who continues to show up every single day. Get your notifications on, subscribe, tell your friends. The only destination I see for myself is number one. That's it. Again, the podcast, December or January now, because we have a lot of people that we're going to sit down with, a lot of notable people, a lot of people who aren't notable, because I just want to have a conversation with people that are experts in some sort of field that I'm interested in, and that are knowledgeable about the field that I'm interested in, in knowing more about. So I'm happy with the direction that we're going into. I think there's going to be a bigger week than last week in terms of numbers. Shout out to Gemini, the partner. You know how that goes. Shout out to them. Shout out to my friend who set up this interview with Peter. Shout out to Peter for giving me the time. Shout out to Hunter for giving me the time. Shout out to all the guests that have come on here, all the notables that have come on here and had 15 to 20 minutes to spare to come onto the show to chop it up with me. I'm excited. I will get Peter Schiff to acquire a Bitcoin. I know it. I was close. He was about to do it. By the way, I'm tired of first of all, I'm better looking than Mandani. So when I don't care if he's a good looking guy, but I am definitely better looking. I'm a Republican. Mandani, if you'd like to come onto the show, we're going to make it happen. We're going to bring Mandani onto the show. We're going to have a conversation. New York City is where I was born. And even though I'm not there anymore, it is the birthplace of me, DG. And I want to go ahead and have a conversation with you 100%. So we're going to make that happen. We are going to definitely make that happen. Today is my birthday. Another trip around the sun. That's what they say, right? Another trip around the sun. I don't even want to tell you how old I am. You know why? Because I don't look it. And by the way, there is no doubt. I am the goddamn best interviewer, or fuck the interview part. This is the goddamn number one show that you can go ahead and tune into, because the people that are coming on and the way I go ahead and talk and the way the conversations happen, everybody leaves here with a smile, regardless if we agree to disagree. And everybody and your mama knows that. Even your grandmother knows that, and your grandma is sitting with other grandmothers and they're talking about this. Let me go to the quote of the day, all right? I'm done. I'm tired. I'm spent. Actually, I'm not tired, but you know what? I got things to do, okay? So let's go ahead and give you the quote of the day. I really am, man. They ain't nobody touching me. The 4-5 to the 2-3, you already know what I'm talking about. Ain't nobody touching me. Nobody. This is my place. It's always been my home. I just took a little break. I'm John Wick. I'm thinking I'm back. I don't give a fuck about that. Let's go ahead and read something. There you go. Let's go with the quote of the day. Let's go quote of the day. Sometimes you have to let go of people you love. Holding on when they don't appreciate you only keeps you tied to pain and frustration. Love alone isn't enough to sustain respect or value. Walking away doesn't mean fuck this. This is dog shit. Hold on. What the fuck am I reading today? Hold on. That's dog shit. That's pure. Not for today. Let's go ahead and do this one. I had to even call it out. I'm not gonna do that. Let's do it like this. Quote of the day. Shout out to BLK. Shout out to BLK, man. He's in the chat. If you don't know the value of loyalty, you will never understand the damage of betrayal. That is it. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my birthday. Celebrate the day, okay? We're going up, okay? We're going up, and we will not stop. And by the way, forget about numbers and forget about the charts. If you believe in this industry, then understand this. 10 years from today, we are going to be at numbers never seen before. This industry will revolutionize the entire world and the way it's working. It's already doing that now. Imagine 10 years from now. I am telling you, get extremely bullish. Stop listening to bearish takes. Stop listening to people that are uneducated. Get with the program. Seek value. If value isn't here, seek people with value. That's all I got to say about that. Bitcoin is never in a bull or bear market, okay? Bitcoin is just Bitcoin, and it does whatever Bitcoin wants to go ahead and do. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, family, I'm out. This show was brought to you by episode 626. This show, let me say that again, was brought to you by Gemini. Go check out Gemini.com/David. The lineup of credit cards. They got the Bitcoin card, they got the Solana card, and they got the XRP card. Check it out. 4% up to 4% back on your purchases. Not important, but in Bitcoin, XRP, and Solana, depending on the card that you have. Ladies and gentlemen, terms apply, of course, and it's all issued by WebBank. By the way, if you're not signed up to Gemini, click my link, sign up. Trade $1,000 in cryptocurrency, get $1,000 Bitcoin. Terms apply. First-time users only. Have a great day and an even better tomorrow.